Hey, welcome back to episode Instagram podcast. I'm your host Juan, and as always, my co-host here with me. Hey, Trip.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fantastic. I've been waiting to talk to you all day, and I've talked to you a lot. Actually, I feel like for these episodes, it's really important for us to warm up because we have a lot to talk about. Yeah. It's our season wrap up, Spring Anime 2021, which is, it was fine.
Yeah. Which one exhausts you more, the wrap up or the previews?
Preview. Oh my God. What are you talking about? Which one more? No. I have to remember 40 different shows and bring them all up at the top.
I think the previews sometimes less work because when we know we don't like it, we just go, this one's about this dumb thing, and we just kind of skip it and go on, But the wrap up's like, we watched all of this, and how do we, dilute 12 episodes into like a nice snippet or whatever. And yeah, we're getting there, but eventually I'd probably like around the like hour and a half, 2 hour mark, we're gonna be like,
oh yeah, that's the way it always goes.
That's just the way it is. Yeah. So man, yeah, wrap up. You ready?
I guess. How have you been? What have you been up to, baby?
I've been doing stuff, but because it is a wrap up, I'm only going to talk about two things.
Please.
One thing, super quick. Sierra set up a family like paint fight. So it's like,
oh right.
So she gets like water bottles, puts like paint in them, and like we mix them up, and like we just kind of go to a park and meet up in a circle, and we're all wearing like a matching white t-shirt that's like I don't know, the year on it or whatever. You just kind of go at it and kind of start spraying each other with paint and stuff. And it's my first time participating in it. I think they've done like maybe 3 or 4. In the past, I didn't have to go because I wasn't like obligated to go. Like me and Sierra were only dating, or we weren't dating yet. But like once we were together, I was just like, now that we're like married, I was like, cool. I can't get away from this. Like I have to do this. And not that it's like a bad thing, but I know that sometimes people can get too like into it. And I didn't want to get a mouthful of paint or anything. The worst, I got a little bit in my ears, which just kind of sucked. But I did learn like a pro strat. My niece, she's, I don't know, maybe 2. She's like little. And they give her like a little squirt gun to play with. And like, I was like, cool, if I hang out with her, people won't be as aggressive. So like I kind of get down to her level and kind of teach her like, have her hold their hand with her, like squirt the bottle. And the only reason I bring this one up is because I squat down, like I make her like have her prop her hands up, like I point it straight, so it's not pointing at me, but like kind of past me. I'm like, come on, Violet, just pull the trigger like this. And I'm teaching her, and I think I did like 3 really big squirts, and then look behind me, and Isaiah's wife had like also gotten down to our level to kind of like hang out with us, and I just blast her in the face. It's like 3 big ones, and I go, oh my God, like purple Courtney. Paint all over Courtney's face. I'm like, I am so sorry. Like I did not see that happening. It was for sure unintentional, but it was a good time. It was like 30 minutes. I did some stretches before because I was like, you know what, I don't want to fucking slip on this grass or like go a little too hard, but it was good. Today you have to let your shirt dry afterwards. That way, like it doesn't like instantly wash it, just all washes out. So today it's been dry for a bit, but I was like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to put it through the washer. That way it doesn't smell like paint anymore, and see what it looks like.
Why don't you want it to smell like paint?
Because that shit's like, it gives you a headache.
Best smell in the world.
No, I for sure came back from the paint fight being like, I am feeling dizzy. Like I got some fumes going, yeah.
The trick to that problem is you have so much paint stuck up in your like nostrils, your scent receptors. If you just sniff some paint thinner, gets rid of all of it, totally good to go.
I was gonna say I should just like squirt some paint and they like rinse it all out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So that was a fun time. I don't know if it's a yearly thing that we're gonna be doing, but it was good. I'm excited for whenever it happens again. I for sure don't want to do it maybe this same time next year because it was hot as shit.
Yeah, but I think that we're only gonna get hotter.
No, dude, shut up. That's global warming is a fucking myth. That's bullshit.
There were like power lines that melted up in Portland.
Yeah, because
that's wild.
Because Portland's power lines are made out of fucking chocolate. Everybody knows that. The magical country or fucking the state, Oregon. All this shit's made out of candy and waffles. That's wild. That's pretty cool. Yeah, dude, global warming, absolutely fucking false. Prove me wrong. Hit us up in the fuking chat. No,
please don't.
No,
please stay away.
We obviously do that on purpose. Yeah, fucking take care of the environment. All right, moving on.
It's not really
fix the environment. Stop fucking spraying aerosol into the sky.
People's personal responsibility to
fix
work
your
hard
environment.
On the climate. I think that big businesses.
My ozone is fucking healthy, dude. I take care of my ozone. I feed it a can of hairspray every day, just straight to the sky.
That's great.
Yeah, well,
that's great.
I'm doing my part. Are you?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not doing that.
Yeah, just spray some sunscreen. Fucking Jimmy Neutron did it. He fucking coated the entire world with fucking sunscreen and everything was fine.
Is that how it worked? Did he get rid of skin cancer?
No, but he caused an ice age, which was pretty fun.
Well, it's one or the other. I mean, you gotta live with it,
Either
right?
you want it to be too hot or too cold. You can't have it both ways. Or maybe. No, you can't. So the second thing I want to talk about, I figured you might talk about it a little bit, but we can just kind of power through this together.
Yeah, let's power it out, baby.
You were invited to it's like a 4 times a year, every 3 months.
Yeah. Quarter annual.
Yeah, game of Twilight Imperium that my brother-in-law Isaiah puts on. I've missed, I think, the last 2 because of school and other situations, but I've already done a couple like the year before that. And yeah, you told me. I honestly didn't know you were playing until like 2 weeks out. And I was like...
I was surprised. Isaiah invited me to play Twilight Imperium with a bunch of friends and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And it's like, yeah, Juan's going to be there. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Cool.
Because I've wanted to play Twilight Imperium for years, but I don't have the game. None of my friends have the game.
It's a big, expensive game.
Yeah, I've heard it's really fun. So going into it, I was told to watch a guide on YouTube. I watched a guide on YouTube. I didn't realize that there was going to be an expansion in this game, and also that like the guide wouldn't be helpful whatsoever, because it turns out when you're trying to like cram learning shit about 60 different kinds of pieces and tokens and strategies and plans and like how the game works, different phases, all of that shit, it's kind of impossible to cram into like a 30-minute video.
30-minute video doesn't cut it.
While having you fully comprehend what's going on and take that information and apply it to the actual board game. So getting into it, I was like, yep, watch the video. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
The first time I played, I think I watched that same video before I played, and then when we were there, he played it again for us. I was like, okay, cool. And then the game started, and I have no fucking clue what's going on. I got like destroyed that first game. The second game I played, I also got destroyed really bad. This game, I also lost. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I scored points, which is like one of the first things. Like usually I'm in like either last, second to last. This time I was like in 4th, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
For me. But yeah, it's a thing we do. It's a game we play, like I said, 4 times a year we try to, because it is very time consuming. We were there for like 12 hours in total, just playing the game.
Yeah, from well, you were there at like 12:30.
No, I showed up like a little before 12, but
okay.
But I'm saying like we probably started at like
we started around 1,
and then we were
a little bit later.
We probably played till like 1 and then cleaned up till 1:30
around 1:30. So it was a good 12.
Imagine playing a game where the cleanup takes 30 minutes. Like
yeah, that's it. Yeah. And the setup apparently takes an hour.
Yeah. So luckily when I got there, Isaiah had already set up the board. So,
well, in my head, I was like, it'll help me to be able to set this up with everyone.
Yeah, it would have
taken too long. So I could figure out what's going on.
If you would have gotten there an hour early, you could have,
Yeah, well, if I had been, told that it was going to all be set up, I might have.
So the game was, to like a quick overlap of the game, it was pretty, like, normal, especially the way that like these guys play it. Like, they're really into, like, building their armies and, like, fighting. Twilight Imperium also has like a component where like you do a lot of politicking and like you have like you vote on just like on rules for the game and stuff like that, and there's discussion element to it.
I honestly thought there would be a heavier emphasis on that, because that is something that every single time somebody brings up Twilight Imperium,
they say they love that part.
They always talk about that, and they say it's really fun to be able to like debate about these and to be able to put different votes in as a council and like all decide on what's going to happen. Turns out that's not a heavy emphasis in the gameplay.
I feel like,
but it was fun.
I feel like it would be more heavy emphasis if the people we played with like cared about that part of the game more.
I also feel like the prompts that we got
weren't that good for our game.
Yeah, they weren't exciting. Yeah. They didn't really do anything that would have fundamentally changed.
There's like a stack. There's like a stack of prompts that are like that big. So like you never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly. So we got a bunch of weak ones.
But I do like that part. I do like the like, hey, let's talk about this. How does this work for everybody? Can we make this fuck over that one person that's in the lead? Mm-hmm. Can we make even things out? That I do enjoy. But like again, like most of the people we play with don't really care for that part of the game, and they just want to keep it going,
which is understandable.
Just fine. You're allowed to like whatever you like, but I did like that you also like that part of the game. It's like, cool, this is my favorite part of the game. I'm going to try to make this last as long as I can, because it's going to be another hour and a half before we get to this part of the game again, probably.
I mean, I've got a crappy podcast. I love talking.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Great.
Yeah. So let's see. Isaiah was doing pretty well because we randomly picked, planets, races, right? And then from that stack of races, we picked the one we wanted. And Isaiah got a pretty good one. He starts with like a busted war sun essentially, and he kind of just.
I mean, he's the guy that owns the game,
loves the game,
that loves it. He's played it so many times.
Researches all of them. He loves it because there's a lot of lore behind it, and so he kind of thinks of strategies and stuff. So he started with a really good, crew of people, and then he just fucking kept building on from that. So he
knew exactly what to do for his people to make them become the best. We didn't really know what our people did for like half of the game.
The thing that, I picked this race of like snake people, and one of their abilities was like, no matter what strategy thing I pick, I always get to go first. I was like, that, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's super cool. I'm gonna take that. And then after I took it, I was like, I don't want to go first. That means I have to start the game. And I was like, do I remember how to play the game? Like I was trying to remember from the last time I played. I was like, fuck. I was like, all right. And I think, it would have been more useful if I knew the race more clearly. But I did the best I could. So there's a lot of fights going on. My brother-in-law, Corey, he got beat up pretty quickly. And then pretty quickly still, by 8 o'clock, he left. Like, he quit the game. He was destroyed.
It was 7 hours of getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, and then he left.
And honestly... I don't blame him at all.
No,
I if I were in his shoes, I probably would have stuck around out of feeling like I needed to, but I would have wanted to leave way before he did.
Yeah, no. but I think Corey's strategy. He's played several times before, and he likes to take the center planet and then kind of hold it and like farm points. And I know Isaiah knows that, so he made it a point to not allow him to do that. Corey got it though. Surprisingly, he eventually got to it, right?
So funny.
But at what cost? But the cost was essentially everything he had. And then, after getting beat up by Isaiah, Gus came in and beat him up too. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna beat up on Corey too. Why not? I never really fight in this game. Like, why not take a fight? And I wasn't too concerned with Corey because he'd already gotten his ass kicked a little bit. So I was like, he's kind of weak. This would be a good time to kind of take him out. And because the way you were playing the game, you were next to Corey, so it was like Corey was between the both of us. I wasn't too scared of you kind of coming into Corey's rescue because I was like, no, Trip's taking a very passive, diplomatic way to playing this game. I'm not too scared of him unless, like, if I don't fuck with Chris isn't gonna fuck with me. Essentially, like that's how it went. That's how it was. I was like, and that's kind of how you play. You're like,
nobody fucked with me at all.
Yeah.
But all that I had in that game was, if somebody fucks with you, fuck with them back.
The mentality. Like,
and that's my mentality. That's all the cards that I was keeping. Like, everything that I had at my disposal.
You were waiting for someone to come to you.
Yeah, it was just like, if nobody bothers me, fine. If somebody does bother me, then I'm going to ruin their time.
And that worked pretty well for you because you still managed to score a lot of points. And people were just
nobody fought me.
People were like, cool. Like, look at all those green pieces. Like, he kept like making stuff. And it was just like, yeah, no one seems to fight Chris. Like, well,
I don't know why.
We're just like, kind of let him keep going that way. And
I never understood it. I mean, I did understand Isaiah's tactics. He's like, Chris isn't getting in my way. I'll take care of him later.
So essentially, yeah.
And then I forced him to not attack me at some point by like forcing him to give me something that benefited me substantially.
Exactly.
Which was an alliance.
Yeah.
So he had no choice over. It was fucking funny.
So we kept playing. I mean, I did okay. I got beat up a little bit by Isaiah, but I managed to push him off and then grow stuff. Gus got spooked. Dave, because, he's an older guy, he doesn't know all the rules. He forgets how to do things. Essentially, they gave everybody a mulligan. Like, hey, if you mess up, we can do it over.
Honestly, here's my thing. With a game this big and this complicated, the way that it had been introduced, everybody gets at least one mulligan or gets at least one retcon, whatever people wanted to call it.
Yeah.
You do something, you realize you fucked up.
Actually wanted to do this. Yeah, exactly.
I don't ever play games like that because I always take it as, oh shit, dude, you didn't realize that you could do that thing? Like, okay, you can either save it for later or we could go back and try to figure this out if it's not too far.
Right.
There were a lot of things in that game to where I didn't realize it until it was too late. And it's like not worth bringing up with people that are that competitive of, you could only have one fuck up this whole game with 1,000 rules. I'm like... But I don't care about the fuck ups.
But Dave had a bunch of fuck ups. We let him get. He got a lot of passes. But then
I think is great. Yeah, that's how it should be.
And then also, like, we also kind of did our part. Like, Gus would be like, "Hey, don't forget to do this." And I'd be like, "Hey, Dave, do you want to do this thing?" Essentially, and he was fighting Isaiah. He always fights Isaiah. And it didn't go too great for him. He was doing better than he did in the past. Essentially, at one point, I think he got to Mechatal Rex, or he pushed Isaiah away. Anyways, he was still kind of in last place behind Corey, who bowed out and didn't play anymore. around, was it the 4 hour mark, 5 hour mark, you and I had been like, cool, Isaiah's gonna win this. Like we mentally knew, like it
was like right after some substantial shit started going down that we had zero control over and didn't realize was going to happen. We're like, oh, this guy has enough power to just do whatever he wants at this point. And I don't know how we're going to stop him from doing that later in the game, because I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. he not only had a really good like group of, like an army building, he also was able to, if he lost them, build them back really quickly.
Yeah.
And he was able to always hold out long enough to use his abilities and make people pass before. Like he's really good at the game, essentially. So you and I were like, cool, this is pretty much over. We're kind of going through the motions, essentially. But not Dave. Gus was trying his best, but
I mean, it's not like we gave up.
No, we kept doing stuff like, I'm going to build this.
We just expected the end results.
Yeah, we just kind of knew, like, this is pretty much dead set. Like, unless something really drastic happens, we're pretty much over. And because the people we playing with were very unwilling to be like, cool, let's go for it, just for him.
Let's change shit up. It was just pretty consistent the whole time.
He would just beat someone up, go away, beat someone else up, go away, and they're like, oh, okay, rebuild. But yeah, so the best part of this entire thing was for sure the ending. Isaiah's like 2 points away from winning, you got to make it a 10. And so then we had to pick our strategy cards, and a giant discussion comes on like how the game's gonna end, like like this, we could do that, just people just throwing stuff in the air and stuff. And then I think Gus said something like, hey, because you were playing a race of turtles, like he's like, it'd be really cool if the chilled turtles won the game. Like he's like, I wouldn't be upset with that because you were also very close to winning. And I was like, yeah, dude. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, we probably could get Trip the win if we gave him our support to the thrones, right? Which is just a free point, like, hey, I want you to win. But I had given mine to Dave. It was like, okay, cool. So I got to convince Dave to give the one that he has that's mine, and then convince Gus to also give you it. And like, and cool, and you would win, right? Mm-hmm. And then Dave's like, well, I'm not going to do that. He's like, because essentially he's like, I don't like the way you've been playing. And then Trip's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, like you haven't been attacking anybody, you haven't been doing anything. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, he's in second place. He doesn't have to attack. He doesn't have to do any of that stuff because he's playing his own game. It's different than your game. He's like, no, like he's just not playing right. I was just like, no, there's not one way to play this game. There's a lot of ways. And to be honest, that was the first time I've ever seen someone play the way you played. I saw Drew play a similar way where he didn't do anything. Like he just kind of kept to himself, but he was always just building stuff. And then he got destroyed because he refused to upgrade stuff.
Oh,
like he had so many pieces, and then he's like, I'm going to do it now. It was like the final round. It's like, I'm going to fight Isaiah. And Isaiah destroyed him. He's like, how'd that happen? Isaiah's like, well, yeah, you have a giant armada, but they're all like base level things. And I've been grinding and leveling up all my stuff. So you're fucked, essentially. And I was just like, and I'm over there laughing. He's like, what an idiot. I was like, look at all those pieces you have. But they're baby pieces,
Yeah, they don't do anything.
They didn't do anything. So you were so far since I've played, the only person to take a different route, and I think was very successful at it. And you could have won if things had happened. But so we would keep arguing, and then I was like, Dave was like, no. I was like, look, dude, it's like 1:30. Like it's almost time. It's like it's really late. Like, look, just give Isaiah the win. Like if you want this to be over, he's like, no, I'm not going to give Isaiah the win. He's like, I'm going to try one more ditch attack, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, and it really irked me because he was kind of being petty about it. And I was just like, fine, you're being petty. I'll be petty too. You think Trip doesn't deserve to win. I think he does. Dave goes for it and like he plays a card to kind of start the fight off. And I pull out my sabotage card and I play and like, nope, you can't do it. Whatever you were planned, you can't do it.
It doesn't matter. Literally all of that last round
didn't matter.
Was, hey, should we come up with the plan? Yeah, maybe we should. Nah, don't want to come up with a plan.
Yeah.
All right, then we're all going to just do our own things essentially, and see Isaiah win.
Unwilling to work with each other. Like, okay, cool. Well, if we're not working together, it's like why would I not play this card,
Yeah.
And then he's just like, so I played the card, essentially stopped what his big plan was, which is just to attack Isaiah, which if he would have done it, I'm pretty sure Isaiah still would have been fine.
Well, after the game ended, Isaiah also said all the ways that he could have won, other than the way he won.
Because by that time, he was really strong, and there was multiple ways to score 2 more points, which at the beginning of the game probably is really hard, but when you're late game, you're like, I can score 2 points doing this dumb thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Dave's just like, okay, he just gave Isaiah his support to the throne. I was like, cool, game over. And I was like, it's over. And then Gus was just like, I can't believe that's how this game ends. Like, that's how the game ends, bro. Like, it's done. And Trip and I had a good laugh.
as soon as you played that sabotage card, because you could tell that Dave was like really working up towards it. As soon as you played it and it just fucked over his plan, I was like, that is the perfect way to use a sabotage. You completely ruined his plan. It made me burst into laughter.
Yeah, it was really good.
And then immediately Dave is like, Isaiah wins. Here's the points. I couldn't handle it. It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was one of the funniest things that I had seen in any board game ever.
It was
It was a thrilling last like 5 minutes. I couldn't handle it.
I think for people who like aren't you and I, you know, that they probably it's like a really salty way for the game to end. For us, it was like, yeah,
that was fucking hilarious.
So good. It felt so right
because it wasn't like there are times where. Essentially the way the game was going was steamrolled until it like putters out into an end.
Yeah.
Is how it was from everybody's perspective. So that was just like, or we throw a giant wrench into everything and it just fucking ends for no reason suddenly.
Yeah.
And that was so much better to me.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard, man.
I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was really funny. Gus really got a kick out of it too. Gus was like, oh, I was going to do all these things. Like, nope. No, you weren't, because the game's over.
I just felt a little bit bad for Isaiah because you could tell that he really wanted to get his own win.
Or get his own win. And he would,
because we had a conversation about, what if we did things to help me win without having to fight anybody? And Isaiah was like, I would still count that as a win for myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, but I would count that as a win for myself because I haven't fought anybody, and that's literally all that I've wanted to do. And I was able to win not fighting anyone.
The thing is, he probably was going to win, so like, it's cool. Like, it does kind of suck that, like, hey, that's how he got it. But he won. Who cares? The game's over.
It ended.
The only thing that really killed me over the whole thing was, I did the sabotage, and Dave just really kind of grinded it and was like, this is your fault. You did this. And I go, no, this isn't my fault. It's like, I played my card because it's my right to play my card, right? I don't have to allow you to attack him. I didn't want it to happen.
I mean, your options were let Isaiah win or do something else about it. So we all talked as a group to do something else about it.
Nothing
decided
really
we're not going to do anything else then. And then, that's it. So then, we all just individualized instead of bonding together. And in doing so, you would be like, no, fuck it, man. Let's like speed things up. It's late as fuck.
Yeah.
He's gonna win whether or not it's through combat or other forces.
I mean, the writing was on the wall. And so Dave's just like, you let him win and you did this. And I go, in my head, I 100% disagree. I did not let Isaiah win.
Nobody let Isaiah win. No. He, through his own skill and knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I stopped you from attacking. What happened is I stopped you from attacking and you gave Isaiah 2 extra points and Isaiah won. That is cut and dry. That's what happened. That's what, the way you interpret it's up to you. But in my mind, I did not give Isaiah 2 points. You gave Isaiah 2 points. And that's how you won. And it was kind of funny. It does tickle me when I think about it. I have the Beastie Boys sabotage in my head, just playing nonstop. But at the end of the day, none of it matters. It's all bullshit, right? It's just a game.
It was just a fun game to play with some boys, but it took way too long, and it was me learning most of it. So it was a rough time for most of it until the end, where I was very much enjoying myself. Like, I would say the point where we got to all talk and debate about stuff is when I started getting more into the game, honestly.
For sure. I think it was
which took half of the time.
It was a hard 12 hours, but I don't regret it.
No.
It's good. And the good thing is that unless you want to, you don't ever have to play
I'm
again.
never going to play it again.
I
have no intent. Like, if I hear that a game takes 10 to 14 hours, I think, wow, it must really be worth it, or fuck, that's a waste of time. Mm-hmm. And everyone has talked about Twilight Imperium in pretty like high regards,
right?
So I thought it was going to be one of those like thumbs up, we're all having a good time the whole time experiences.
No. So I'm for sure going to probably hear about the sabotage for many years to come,
as you should, because it was fucking hilarious. And every time that it gets brought up in a negative way, you just remember how much joy that brought me.
We laughed so much.
How funny it was, dude. I can look back at that anytime and just be like, 12 hours happened and then that's the way that it ended. Just, oh my God. The stupidest fucking bullshit. I loved it. It really emphasized how pointless games are. And that's what I think a lot of people need to remember is just whether it's a video game, board game, whether it's an actual like physical game like basketball, soccer, or something. Right. It doesn't matter, man. It's just a game. There might be a lot weighing on that, but you realize that it's a game and it's kind of a gamble regardless. It's a little bit of skill, but
it's only a game, right?
It's only a game.
It's only a game. Yeah, dude, it was something.
It was.
I do want to end on this. Gus, it was my first time playing with Gus. He kept bringing up that the game we were playing was sauceless. It was like his kind of catchphrase that we were essentially copping out and not doing like risky things. Everyone was too scared. Everything was sauceless, and every now and then someone would do something that's kind of saucy. So when I played the sabotage game, the card, and then Dave gave him the points, I was like, Gus was like, I can't believe this is how it ends. Like, yo, dude, the only way for the most sauceless game to end is have a sauceless ending. So shout out to Gus. What a trooper.
Yeah, Gus was a boy,
Gus
man.
was cool.
I had a really good time with him.
I did love the way Gus played, because Gus was just like, I have all these cards that can like hurt people, but I don't want to hurt people. I'm going to save him. And then someone would hurt him. He's like, why didn't I play that card?
Like, I could have hurt that person. He was so funny.
It's like, Gus, either be good or bad. You just don't pick, both. And yeah, it was a good time. So, but it's over, and I don't have to think about it until probably the next time someone brings it up. So,
all right, I'll bring it up tomorrow.
That's it. Those are the only two things I want to talk about. Luckily, the huge sabotage and prom pairing was something we both shared, so we don't have to keep talking about that anymore. But that's it. What have you been up to besides that 12-hour chunk of your life?
I've been a big gamer, and I've had other 12-hour chunks of my life since then.
Okay.
Not really since then, more like around then. I played and beat Resident Evil 8, which I had been putting off for a while.
Okay.
I had a really good time with it. The first hour or so, I kind of felt like, all right, well, I don't know how I feel about this yet. We'll see. Wasn't a big fan of Resident Evil 7, so I stopped that about 5-ish hours in. After the first hour, it started feeling like a Resident Evil game. And I had stupid complaints that later became a part of the story and part of the plot. And I was like, oh, you clever dogs.
You got me.
You really got me. But yeah, it was a really fun Resident Evil experience. And it was great. I played it on PS5, so it did have the adaptive triggers, so different guns that you use felt different, and that was the only thing that the controller did differently, which is also what Bugsnax did. Bugsnax had a little bit more like rumble effect. Everyone points to Astro's Playroom as like, oh man, check out what the fucking controller could do. But after beating Resident Evil 8 and having a fantastic time with it, and also realizing never worth completing, holy shit, beat the whole game with only melee items. Go fuck yourself. That sounds so lame. That sounds so tedious.
Yeah.
Anyways, fantastic game, a lot of fun. But then I started playing Returnal, which after playing it for like an hour, I was like, this is the PS5 experience I've been waiting for.
Right.
This feels so much different. And I've read a lot of people talking about the game, saying it's brutal, it's really fucking hard, it's like supposed to make you feel punished and constantly challenged, and it kind of does, but that's not why I like it. Why I like it is the controller, which is the weirdest thing for me to ever say.
Yeah.
When I hear about the PS5 experience, I'm expecting, it's going to have amazing graphics. Ratchet & Clank just came out. It looks fucking gorgeous. But then a lot of the complaints are, yeah, it's a Ratchet & Clank game, so it does have kind of repetitive gameplay and like not much of a challenge. You're just kind of playing through it and having a good time, which is great. So Ratchet & Clank, fantastic graphics. Returnal, also pretty damn good graphics. Lots of really good particle effects. But as soon as I started the game and it's playing a cutscene and my controller is rumbling from one side to another in a way that I haven't felt before, not like classic controllers rumbling, it's like a different kind of feeling. Nintendo Switch with their Joy-Cons, they kind of fucked around with that a little bit with 1-2 switch, and Shantae had some like interesting feeling when you're in the water swimming around. The controller felt like rumbly in a weird new way. Nothing as close to Returnal as we got on the Switch. Returnal is amazing just based off of the experience. Might not be a game for everybody, but it's the first time that I felt like I'm playing in the new generation of games.
Well, it's the first time, that's one of the reasons we started late, because you have to check this out. I figured you just like put the controller in my hand and like give me the cutscene, but you let me play for, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes.
It was an hour.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It was hard. It's hard to not get into it. But the cutscene in the beginning with all the rumbles, like, oh, this is nice. And because, I didn't realize how well of a job it was doing. It was just like, because I've felt rumbles before. It's not like a new piece of technology, but the way they did it was very immersive, where I was like really suck into just like what was in front of me. And I think my favorite rumble was just the rain. Like when we stepped out, really good. I was like, this is nice. I was like, this is like, it's so subtle that like it really does kind of suck you in. And I know video games, like in the past, people fucking play fucking, I don't know, Mario or Pong and, Pac-Man, and people like, look at them, kid, just fucking glued to the TV. This is the first time in a very long time where I feel like I can't like not look at this screen. Like, there's your place is a pretty, like, it's a nice place. Like, there's always something. I can always look at something.
Specifically, I have an entertainment setup that is made to suck people in.
Oh yeah,
but this does such a fucking good job at it.
It was nice. I still don't think like I'm at that point where like, oh, I need to get a PS5. But I was what a nice experience. And for sure, I see like where the money is. Hopefully, like more games start, more of their games, because they don't have many games yet, right? Like start coming out and they're taking advantage of this tech that they have. Because I don't know. I think when I was younger and like new consoles would come out, I never felt obligated to get any of them because none of them ever really like blew me away.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, the first console that I remember paying attention to when it was coming out was PS2. I remember it being talked about, and that was about it. My dad wound up getting it for us for Christmas or my birthday or some shit like that. And it had cool games with new ideas. When I say that, I mean it had a game called Fantavision, which was you explode fireworks. It was nothing mechanically impressive, but it was to show off. This is what video games fucking do since that time, I guess. Maybe since before. They show off how many polygons and shit they can hold in one screen.
Right.
So this was all about the particle effects and like, oh man, look at it. It looks so beautiful, huh? This is a crazy new experience, huh?
You're like, sure.
Yeah, like whatever. Okay, cool. Going into PS3 and Xbox 360 era. Xbox didn't have anything that blew me away because Halo, you could play it on computer. And Blinks the cat had very mixed reception.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly, right? Yeah. It was a cat that could rewind time. It was Prince of Persia, the cat.
No way.
Yeah, but he had a remote or some shit. I don't know.
That sounds so good.
Never got to play it because I didn't have an Xbox. Didn't really care.
Blinks
but
the cat.
I think GameCube really convinced me with Tony Hawk 3, which would have been on everything, and the Super Monkey Ball, I think, was one of the first titles as well. Those two things blew me away because of how fun they were. Not necessarily anything else, but they were just fun to play.
I think I got pretty hyped about when I saw Smash Bros. Like Melee, because I'd played Smash Bros. On the N64, and then that was it. I think that was a console we had for a really long time, and then my dad somehow got us a PlayStation. Like one of the mini ones, like, not the big chunky ones, but like is like, fuck, it could fit in my, my palm essentially. And not then, probably now,
Yeah.
And then I think I saw a GameCube, like, oh, cool. And I was like, oh, this Smash Bros. Thing. And I remember being like, wow, like that's like the colors. Cause when you compare it to the original Smash Bros, like everything had a fucking point to it, and this was like fucking Yoshi smooth, Kirby smooth, and, that's one of the games that like I try to stay with, as guys get older, because I'm not really super big into games and stuff like that. But like I said,
Smash Bros has a special place.
Oh yeah, it's really nostalgic to me. But yeah, like for sure, this new game that you showed me on the PS5, Returnal, was like, whoa, this is fucking wild.
Yeah, different. I mean, it's like when you do VR for the first time, you're like, God damn it, it is virtual reality.
Yeah,
that's as far as it goes for that usually.
Yeah,
and with Returnal, it's like
fucking head. It hurts.
Yeah. But you still feel like, man, this was a new experience. Doing virtual reality.
Like, this was cool. I can't wait to puke.
But then with PS5, it's much more of a this is just another game. Oh, wait,
it's more than a game.
They're doing different cool shit.
It's an experience.
And honestly, the controller, the way that the triggers work for shooting feels pretty good because it has a whole half press thing.
It's different
because it has adaptive triggers that are able to change. So they're able to make, instead of it having one function, it has two functions, and it has a distinct point where it feels like it's a different button.
Well, I asked you, I was like, is it supposed to feel like this? Like, because I was like, it feels kind of like sticky or stuck, and you're like, no, like it's like that for a reason. And then when I used it, it's like, oh, that's nice. It was hard to get used to because
it's weird.
I am used to just kind of pulling all the way down, and you're like, no. Like, I can imagine the more you did it, the better you get at it. But from the time that I played, I was like, oh, I gotta remember, halfway, and it's cool that it has that ability. Yeah.
I mean, just playing games in general, it's hard to remember your controls and shit. But
I kept hitting the box, and you're like, dude, that's melee. You don't have it yet. Do dash. I was like, fuck, I hit the circle button.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, that game is fantastic. It's really fun. It's really punishing. The story is interesting to me so far. I have just beaten the first act. I feel like there are 3 acts in this game. That's kind of the way it's set up for. And it gets fucking harder. It's really tough.
You know what I'll tell you? Because I doubt I'll probably buy a PS5 soon. You know, and I don't imagine coming over here to play that game.
Yeah, no.
But if you do eventually find someone doing like a good gameplay of that, I would be down to see that because I was interested of like I was like, why is my body there? What's going on? and then you would say like, we don't know, dude. I was like, why don't we know? So like I would be interested.
Other stuff in the game that you didn't get to experience, which I thought was cool too. If you were able to play it online, which I made you play as a guest, so you could play the beginning of part of the game, which has the most like, oh, this is cool controller stuff. If you play online, then you're able to see where other players died, and kind of like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, you get to watch just their like shadow of a body get killed some way.
Oh, wild.
So you watch them like run around and do like some jumps, and then they fall onto their corpse. And when that hologram goes onto their corpse, either you avenge the corpse, you scavenge the corpse, or sometimes the corpse is just a monster and then you have to kill it. And they are brutal fights when you do that, but it's really fun. So you got to play it, died at the point where it was supposed to kill you,
right, which was scary.
Played through it again and got to a new difficult enemy and died again. The way I played it was got to that first guy that's supposed to kill you, great. Oh, hey, there's my body on the ground. Yeah, I'll check it out. And then I fight some giant goddamn monster and get my shit wrecked immediately. I'm like, wow, that was not cool. I'll be more ready for it next time. And then it spawns like 10 enemies. And then there's a bigger monster that's spawning while that happens, but it's like building up. And I'm like, this is horrible. Why the fuck is this a thing?
Why is it
and
so
then you
hard?
get really good rewards from it.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a cool little thing. You didn't get to experience it, which is fine.
Okay.
Instead, you got to experience a lot less death, which shows off more of the game.
Yeah, I got further than I thought. I'm like, I've only died twice. Like, Trip says it's pretty hard. I was like, I fell off a ledge. Oh my god, fell off a ledge again. There goes my health. I'm like, am I dead? Trip's like, nah, but you probably should stop falling off ledges. I was like, yeah, that's probably a good point.
All right, so my last point about this game is that the controller is really the thing that shines through. Mm-hmm. There are points where the vibration in the controller makes a specific sound that goes along with the game.
Oh, cool.
So they're able to, like, you know, when you have those magnetic, like oblong things,
the crackers you throw up and they hit each other.
Yeah. You know how it goes like,
yeah, when they get really close, they
like really high.
Super hard. Yeah,
it's kind of like that vibration of going like high frequency and then it goes up into a special noise, but it sounds like a space noise. So it's going like out of your controller with the vibration,
and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. And for a second you just go like, whoa, that was tight. That felt cool. It sounded cool. Mm-hmm. Like, there are just a lot of things that you can do with these controllers that make me so excited to see what else there is. Hey,
shout out to Sony. You're doing really good. You're really fucking Crunchyroll, but God, are you doing good? This shit.
But actually, if we do want to talk about anime type shit, you know how Funimation is Sony?
Yeah, they're fucking killing it, though.
They updated a bunch of stuff, too. They have like a new little jingle when you log in and whatnot.
Huh.
A lot of stuff is new.
Do you do Sony through your PlayStation? Funimation through PlayStation or your computer?
Yes.
Both?
And my phone.
And your phone? Okay.
And my iPad.
I do mostly like phone and then like cast it, or I'll do there's like an app on my Fire TV or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I haven't noticed that yet.
Yeah, if you log in with your phone today,
right now,
you'll notice it.
Okay, well,
we'll do it after the pod. Don't worry. Well, it doesn't really matter, but they're doing shit.
Well, yeah. That being said, I had a really hard time just doing anything on Crunchyroll. I was like, why the fuck won't this, episode play back to zero? And you're like, I remember you being like super bummed out about the beta.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, the beta's really fucking shit up. So
beta's not my fave.
Shout out to Sony doing all the good things in the world. They're fixing one and fucking the other.
I can tell you that Crunchyroll on PS5 has some like pixelation. There's definitely some fragmented ancient history ass frames that show up every once in a while.
I will say, at least on my Funimation, my app on my TV, I hate the fact that the search bar for anime is all the way at the bottom, above log out, and then below settings. So it's just like
pretty fucked up.
I was like, why are you there? Why aren't you? Why isn't it search and then anime this and then my list?
Yeah. When is the last time that you looked at something and thought, I don't care about searching. Put that like off in the corner. I don't give a fuck. You either want to search immediately or you already know what you're looking for and it's already right there. Yeah.
But sometimes I go like, oh, I gotta find that show. I was like, and I go, where the fuck is search? I shouldn't have to look for you. No. Search is the most important function with this thing.
Well, with anime fans, I mean, there are times where we sit there and we go, yeah, let's just fucking find something and watch it and browse. but that is much less frequently than people that watch normal television.
Yeah, for sure.
We go through recommendations. We go through reviews.
Yeah.
We go through studios. We go through so many things other than just fucking browsing.
Yeah.
Probably because we've browsed in the past and been like, no, this is garbage. This is terrible. Yeah. And then you watch something good and you're like, more of this. Mm-hmm. Anime like Promised Neverland Season 2. Whoa. And then you look that up and you get a bunch of cool results.
Well, I think Crunchyroll does that now where they're like, hey, you like this show? You might like these shows. And I go, nah, those shows are different. Go fuck yourself.
Crunchyroll has weird topics.
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, was it shows that'll make you cry or something like that? Or
yeah, some shit like that. I don't know.
One was weird. It was okay. Here it is. The first one was Asobase Workshop of Fun, right?
Oh yeah, so yeah, Asobase.
And the second one was Hinamatsuri. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe they're doing like girl comedies or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then the next one was this like. Was it the one, the Antarctica girls? And then like
Place for the Universe.
And then it was like
fantastic show. Go watch it.
What was it? It was just like other more like it was like the girls that do like they make the mug, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is this? And I looked at the topic. It says like girls having fun. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? Why would you put those those first two? I can see them why they're the same category. But why the fuck is A Place for the Universe next? Like those are different shows for sure. They have to be.
That show is about girls having fun.
Yeah, but not on the same way, you know?
It's a way more emotional ride.
It's not like a butler shooting lasers out of his ass or whatever.
It's not like that. It's not like, yo, I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to cry because this girl has some emotional stuff going on and she is walking in the path that, you know what? We're not going to talk about that show.
Whatever.
It's
Don't watch that show.
Go watch it. No, fuck you.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Anime.
Anyways,
anything else you've been doing?
No, man. I've been playing games. I've been a gamer. I've been having fun.
Cool,
It's been great. What I would like to talk to you about this week is anime.
Okay.
And we are not going to talk about it in our hey, what are you watching kind of section because,
all we watched was this.
So if you're okay with it, I could share some news with you.
Do some news, bro.
You want to hear some news?
Give me some fucking news,
dude. All right, I got only a couple of things because heads up, Anime Expo is happening. You could sign up for free, Anime Expo Lite. I haven't decided yet. Depending on your reaction right now, I might stream it, and you might be able to, hang out and watch it with me, and we could just have an online stream, no faces, just over Discord talking and watching.
Sure, if I'm awake and not busy, I'll pop in like, hey, dude. Cool, I got to work out real quick. Worked out today, by the way.
So good for you.
Really tired.
Big stuff.
Those stairs hurt so bad.
Yeah, we'll get over the stairs. We'll just have ramps installed here.
If you want to do it, and I guess we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it.
All right, we'll talk about it. Hey, Fruits Basket. Oh yeah, news. You want to talk about the news?
Yeah, give me the news.
Fruits Basket, since it's over now, fortunately, we'll have a spin-off anime titled The Story of Kyoko and Katsuya.
Oh, I was going to guess it's going to be like, veggie sack, like something like kind of fruit basketsy, but that's a good name too. That's not the name I would have gone with.
You can call it veggie sack every time that it pops up in the news.
Yeah, this episode, you know what? I might just watch the show so I can be like, so this week on that veggie sack. The good combo of words.
So horrible. I hate it.
All right, fine.
The Demon Girl Next Door season 2 is going to air in spring 2022.
Ooh, did we watch that one?
Yeah, we watched an episode. There's a demon girl.
Yeah.
There was an angel girl.
Oh, they were going to school together and stuff. Yeah. Okay, I remember
the demon
that
girl didn't know how to be a demon yet.
Yeah. She just said like she wrote on the board or something, and then the teacher
she just grew her horns.
Yeah, the teacher made her stand outside and hold buckets of water or something. She's crying and stuff. Yeah,
that sounds about right,
dude. I can't wait for season 2 of fucking that show. The Demon Girl Next Door.
Yeah. Hey, you remember the name?
Yeah.
Demon Girl Next Door. People are goddamn jacked about that shit.
Dude.
Utada Hikaru, the musician behind the OP of To Your Eternity, has come out as non-binary.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that, yeah.
Which is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Because that's big for Japan.
For sure.
I appreciate when people learn more about themselves.
Yeah.
And when they're able to do something as substantial as announce that in a country that does not accept people like that.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I hope it goes over well. They are very talented. Like that's a song that we keep. I think maybe for 5 minutes during Twilight Imperium, is like, hey man, fucking the intro to Twilight, it was like, you know, dude, we started like gushing about it, and like they're playing their game. It's just like it's such a good song, very talented. Yeah, but I think that's good. I know that recently, I guess on this side of, you know, the world or whatever, the first NFL player came out as openly gay or whatever. I was like, cool, dude, good for them. He's like a Raiders. I think he's a lineman or linebacker or something like that. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
He's not like an amazing player, but I think it was good that he did this thing. And then like I went to the comments, and there was just like, it was just people being huge assholes. Like the worst kinds of people being like, why is he making this about him and not? He's like, we don't care, dude. Keep that to yourself and just like play your game. I was like, and I was like, you know what? It's not worth arguing, but obviously it's like, it's good for, you know, young people to see other people like them in the world or whatever. That way they don't feel like they're like, there's not people like them, right? So like if some young kid sees that they're a football player, or some young person sees that a musician for this fucking intro is like them, or they can feel like, you know,
they can
relate to them.
Yeah.
They don't feel fucking alone or trapped in this world. That's all that fucking matters. It's none of your fucking business. But if they're out there, they're not trying to like, they're not doing this to be like, look at me. They're just like, hey, just so you know, I'm here, and this is what it is. So that's super cool. I think that's super great for it.
I think it's rad as hell.
For them, yeah.
And actually going back to the football topic, I also was reading some people in the comments, and I thought it was such a good point that the years in history beforehand have been like cemented by all these other strong gay people that have been able to come out and push and keep going forward. And the fact that this is the first football player who is like, you look at football as like these ripped as fuck straight dudes
playing a really masculine sport.
It takes so much to come out as gay when you're in a sport like that is like very, very essentially they're homophobic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Incredibly homophobic feeling.
Well, the thing is, like, I know that some people were saying like, hey, yo, no, like, there's been other players for years who have been gay, and like no one made a big deal about them. It's like, because they weren't felt comfortable or safe to come out and do that. So he did this, and that's great. And that can in the future, like that can keep happening. I know there's been like college football players that do that, but none of them have ever made it like transition to the pros, to the biggest league. So I was like, good for him. Fuck anybody that's upset about it. He's allowed to say how he feels and let people know. And if you're just going to be a dick about it, go fuck yourself, essentially. Yeah.
So essentially they came down to all of the other strong people that have come out that are more flamboyant, that are less masculine, whatever it is. They're the strongest people that were able to pave a path for people in professions like the NFL
for sure.
To be able to come out. So it requires so many different people and so many people that are stronger than just players in the NFL with their own security of who they are and everything. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting to show that this dude was able to come out and it's okay now, thanks to all these other people that
paved the way.
Yeah, paved the way where normally they would have been ridiculed in a group like the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool to show that the United States has come a pretty far way with their,
which is good because
acceptance.
There's a lot of people in the industry who are very support other athletes being like, cool, man, congratulations, you know, like people who already for sure knew, you know, but like it wasn't their business to say anything that are really supportive. I'm just talking about like this, there's still people who are just real dicks about it. So like, I'm like this, like, because like, so it's not like fixed, it's not perfect, but I think it's good that like, hey, let's go move in the right direction. If that upsets you for some reason, that this big burly athlete is the way he is, again, go fuck yourself, like get over it.
Hey, speaking of gay ripped as fuck dudes,
nice.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean will have a panel at Anime Expo Lite. So people are always stoked about new JoJo news. Anime Expo is going in and they are just doing JoJo news.
Yeah, dude. Every time the first Anime Expo, we were just watching. I think it was like One Piece or some other random thing, and it's just people was like, "When's JoJo?" Like it was like, and it was like, I go, and people were getting so mad, and I was like laughing, and I go, you know what? I'm gonna turn the chat off because it's not worth it. So you finally got it. Fucking, they're going big on JoJo. Enjoy your stuff. You guys won. You guys have crippled the fucking industry. It's all about JoJo.
All right, that's all the news this week. Next week we're gonna have way more news because we are watching Anime Expo Lite.
Yeah, it's essentially just a long news episode. So we might not even have an episode if we just say we stream it. We go.
God, I hope we don't have an episode next week. That would be crazy.
Say we stream it and we go. Yeah, just go watch the stream. We already did it. So we got nothing to say.
Episode. Yeah. It's like a 1 minute episode.
Link, yeah. Here's a link. The link is www. Like just HT89TC, shit like that. Okay, cool. Let's get into this week's actual topic then, which is the wrap up. Oh, what season is it? Is it spring? 2021. of anime.
That's exactly what it is. Spring Anime 2021 wrap up. We're talking about shows on Funimation first, then we're going into Crunchyroll.
Okay.
We've put the sequels at the end, so that way, well, actually, there's one that I didn't put at the end, but it's only so that we can mix up who's talking. Okay. But try to put them at the end so you don't have to stick around for the clear, like, yeah, we watched it. We liked the first season. We liked the second, whatever.
Right.
Because we're not getting any Promised Neverland bullshit. I'll tell you that much for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're starting out with Funimation. Funimation had a little show called Super Cub that you and I are pretty fond of, made by the Studio Kai. They did Uma Musume, Pretty Derby Season 2, and Cagaster of an Insect Cage.
That's such a wild collection of animes to have in your repertoire.
My favorite thing is they haven't made much, but they did make a wildly successful, pretty show, and
one of the worst things I've ever seen.
The show that we watched that's on Netflix that honestly I couldn't tell you any specifics about at this point, other than it didn't take itself as seriously as I thought it should, and it was dumb as fuck and looked bad.
Was he half bug? I don't remember. What was his deal?
What was his deal? Anyways, Super Cub is such a nice show. Mm-hmm. It is a calm show. It's a slice of life. What you're in this for is human things. That's pretty much it. I don't know.
I would describe this show as girls doing fun things. You know, it goes in that category.
But like, it's more calm than that. It is such a calm, like everyday life kind of situation.
It's more like girls doing things. Right?
Yeah, girls just doing things, man.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Our main character lives alone. Her parents don't exist. I think they died.
They passed away in some sort of like accident or something. But again, that's not really like
it's not a focal point at all.
It's more like you very quickly find out, hey, she's by herself. She has a pension that she takes care of herself, and she's kind of alone.
No friends, no family.
She lives in a very colorless world, essentially.
She's not depressed, but she's not like happy.
She's just kind of going through the motions. She goes to school. She's what, second year, I think?
Yeah, she's young, but she's old enough to drive.
In Japan, I don't know what the legal age to drive there is, but
I think it's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you hold on to the steering wheel,
then you're good. If your feet touch the pedals,
if you're able to crack open a beer and hold the steering wheel, you're old enough to drive in Japan.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, so she just has this kind of not the best life, but not the worst life. It's just a life. And then she sees someone ride like a motorbike, right? And she's just like, yeah, just maybe.
Damn, that scooter looks okay.
It's pretty nice.
Okay, I'll go look at him. I'm not doing anything.
And then she's like, well, these scooters cost us money. She's like, that's a lot of money. I don't got that kind of money. And he goes like, you want this scooter? Someone died on it.
3 people died on it or some shit like that.
It's pretty cheap though. He's like, how much? And I don't know. I think it was
like $100.
Yeah. And she's like, I'll take it. He's like, you got a license? She's like, no. Go get a license. So she's like, all right. So she gets a license. She gets her scooter and she's like, do you know how to ride it? Nope. All right, well, let me teach you how to ride it.
So this whole show is just, hey, what's a new problem that I have with my scooter? Okay, learn about it, fix it myself, get somebody else to help me fix it. And that's how she meets her first friend.
Yeah.
They both have Super Cubs. Her friend just has hers a little bit more souped up.
Yeah.
And they get to bond. She learns a little bit more about her new scooter from her friend. And then they wind up meeting this other girl through just interaction, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she's like, yeah, it just opens up the wheelhouse. Like, I think this other girl was familiar with her first new friend who drives a Cub, and it's the Hunter. I was like, ooh, it's the one they use to deliver mailbox. The mailman used because it's got it's all terrain, bro. That bitch can go up Mount Fuji, no problem. But yeah, she meets
delivery people.
Yeah. So they meet the third girl, and she doesn't have a Cub, but she's really into what, like coffee? Is it what it is? Like she's.
Just like a cafe.
Yeah. She's got a French bike. It's like a funny looking bike. It's like a road bike, and she becomes like a part of the group. And it's nice. Like it's nothing. There's no real stakes to this, except for the one episode where there's stakes for like 20 seconds
for no reason. The whole show is a charming time, and the really, really good selling point is you're having an okay time every episode. You're enjoying yourself. And then something happens to our main character that opens up her world in a different way, that expands her mind, that helps her like find a new passion. And every time that happens, the color just
intensifies.
Yeah. it flushes through the background and all the trees start popping out and everything is so warm and comfortable. So you're able to grow with this character's growth, I guess.
Well, yeah, when the show started,
and it attaches to you. You're just like, I want that good feeling of, yeah, we're happy.
When the show started, she has like black hair and like paper white skin. And I was just like, she needs some sun. Like, and I didn't realize. I was like,
yeah, you don't realize.
I was like, wait, everything's very muted. And I think the first time it happens when she sits on her cub and she like starts it and like everything kind of brightens for a second. I go, oh my God, did I just imagine that? And then, it's a motif that keeps happening. And I was like, wow, that's like one of my favorite fucking times. Like, I can't wait for this fucking entire show to get just a little bit brighter.
It's such a fun show to watch.
Yeah.
That's all that I have to say about that one. It was a great time. I think that most people should go out of their way to check it out if you do like slice of life type stuff. And if you don't typically like slice of life, give it a shot. See if this is what might do it for you. Because there was something so comforting about being around these people, about learning a little bit with them each time.
It was just an easy watch, too. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like, there was no real, like I said, no real high stakes. I do want to talk about this one section just because I haven't talked to you about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. What do you want to talk about?
There's that part where there's an episode ends with the newest friend, the girl that like rides her bike. She's falls in a river.
Yeah, she dies, and then they don't call for help, and then they go and save her life.
This is the part that kills me. Like, so the episode ends with her needing help, and then our main character goes and gets her, and then she's like, "Did you call an ambulance?" She's like, "Nah, I just brought my cub. Don't worry about it."
Our main character is not the most sufficient person.
When that happened, I was like, "What the fuck is your problem? Call a fucking ambulance." And then she's just like, "Nah, you can just come to my place and we'll warm you up there. You can take a bath there. Don't worry about it." I was like, she could be really hurt. And luckily she was fine.
If somebody were to call me and then they're panting and they say, help me, I would be like, oh, fuck. Who do I call? What do you need?
You'd be like, send me your GPS. Do something, right? You wouldn't be like, all right, I'm going to get in my fucking car and go drive around town and see if I can find you. And when I find you, I'm just going to throw you in the back and take you back to my place.
Oh, and then the kicker with it too is she was in the freezing cold water in the middle of winter, and this whole story arc has been about, oh, how can I ride around on my Super Cub without having any negative influence of the winter? So she's like gotten all these mitts and like shields and stuff that protects her. And then she just shoves her homie in the front little basket.
Yeah, she's like
has her in front of the windshield.
She can essentially murder her with like, her getting like fucking pneumonia. But I was like, oh my God. Like, because we didn't get to talk about that, but I was like, I love that. I love the show. Great characters. What a fucking dumbass. Like, what is your problem?
When you hear that happened, you go, that seems out of character.
I was like, huh.
For me, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I learned a little bit more about her.
Yeah, she's kind of dumb.
She's a little dumb. But they never said that they were smart. So.
No, they didn't. No, they really didn't. So, yeah.
That was a fun show.
It was good
charming, good. Very different pace. Vivy, Fluorite, Eyes song by Wit Studio. They did Attack on Titan, like most of it, except for the final season, and Great Pretender. Wit Studio pretty much can't do any wrong in my eyes at this point.
Right.
Because they are just so fucking strong.
Yeah, this is one that like it starts off super intense. Again, spoilers for all of this, but
off the bat, it is intense, but it is compelling.
Yeah, like it's just like a bunch of people getting murdered, and it's like, what is going on? And
future robots chanting,
just murdering the fuck out of people, and then it cuts to like, I don't know, their present day, which isn't ours, right? And
it's like, hey, 150 years ago,
which is also probably like 100 years in the future from now, or whatever.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's very far in the future right now.
And then we meet our main character. Her name is Diva. She's
her name is Vivy.
Her name is Diva, and then she gets named Vivy afterwards.
I'm sorry, she is who she became at the end of the thing.
After they deleted her, bitch. Don't fucking.
We're not going to dead name her.
Her name is fucking. Her name is Diva.
That happens a lot through this, though, is that her name switches back and forth between Vivy and Diva.
Like, who are you right now? Like, I don't know. Do you want to sing? Not really. Oh, hey, what's up, Vivy? How you doing?
Yeah, like, okay,
what about you? Like, I kind of feel like singing. Oh, it's Diva. So yeah,
we got Diva.
Her name is Diva, and the reason she's built to, I guess, sing.
Yeah. Why is her fucking name Diva?
Her name is
she's a singer.
She's a singer. And then in this world, AIs have been given artificial intelligence has been really hard to kind of figure out, but what humanity has grasped is like, as long as you give them like one solid like goal to achieve, they should be okay. Like they shouldn't go out of whack. And so like
her purpose is to spread joy through singing.
Yeah, like I think it's like sing with her entire heart or something like that. Like, And it's a hard one. It's not like hey, my job is, like fucking Rick and Morty's like, what's your job? Oh, I pass butter, essentially. And I was like, no, yours is kind of hard, dude. You get to sing a bunch. So she's singing. She meets up with I don't know what's explained. He's like a program from the future, comes in, and then he's like, hey, check it out. Shit gets really fucked in the future. We got to stop the AI apocalypse with the war against the humans. That is our job now. Like, you and me, fucking Vivy, we're gonna do it.
And she's like, I sing good.
And he's like, yeah.
Why me?
But you know what singing good means? You also kick ass. And she's like, okay,
Yeah, and then he's like, anyways, you mind if I like implant a new system in you? And she goes, I mean, if it'll save like humanity, that's pretty much the same goal that I have right now. Yeah. So then she gets all this like new information and becomes
super tech. She's like, she's like essentially downloads. She's the Matrix. She downloads how to do kung fu and stuff, and it's just like, cool. Now we're gonna go on missions. And like every episode, I think they're either broken down into 2 or 3 episode chunks where it's like, this is the arc, this is the goal. It starts with
this is the time period.
Yeah, it's starting with like saving a politician from passing or not passing a bill that's gonna affect the rights of AIs, essentially. So they have to save him from being assassinated. It's like, cool, they're able to do that. And then at the end of that, a plane explodes, and like there's a character on that plane that Vivy knows, like a little girl that she knows very well, and he's our robo dude, the guy from the future.
Matsumoto,
he's like, hey, look, dude, this is gonna happen a lot. Like, there's gonna be losses to moving forward. Like, you can't just save everyone and there not be effects. We can't do anything to stop that. It is what it is. And it's just like, really quickly, like the stakes kind of go up. And then, the next mission happens, because Matsumoto leaves, and it took like 15 years, right, for her to come back. So, and then that's just kind of how it goes. Every time he comes back, there's a new mission. We're gonna stop this fucking space station falling from the sky run by AIs. We're gonna make it crash somewhere else. It's gonna crash. We're just not gonna let it crash on people. Or the other was like, we're gonna stop the first AI suicide. We're gonna stop
whatever.
And just a bunch of stuff like that.
And essentially, the point of the show is there's progress.
Yeah.
They do make impacts, but it doesn't help out that much.
No.
And things are still going wrong consistently. I don't want to spoil too much about it.
No, we don't have to spoil it too much.
But fortunately, Vivy is one of the most compelling anime that I've seen recently. And it delivers every single time. You get like a couple of chilled episodes, and then it gets more intense. And usually the story arcs are 3 episodes long. I think there was one that was like 4 episodes before the end, which was also sprung on us, man. It was like a 3-parter.
Yeah, it was longer.
But the first episode, the chill episode, was the most chill. It was so chill.
Till the very end.
Yeah, and then the last like minute was like, the fuck is happening? Fantastic show. It looks incredible.
I love the way
music is good. The character designs are dope as hell. They're very anime over the top.
Yeah.
But fuck me, man. I mean, I'm a fan of anime. I like that shit, baby.
I really like the music too. Like, she's just she's essentially being like a robo pop idol. And yeah, the animation that we see, like, it get really close up on her face sometimes. We get to see how she is made out of tech and stuff.
So good at doing close up face shots.
Yeah. And then they also do like really sick fights. Like, I didn't think this was a fighting anime. And then like there's some
right off the bat,
some
it's like
sick ass fluid motion when they're getting like shit done. And it was really good.
I don't feel like the quality dropped at all. It was just consistently good. That being said, the last episode is a special episode. It's literally a recap.
Don't watch it.
No need to watch it. Don't know why they did that exactly. But Vivy had a weird release schedule. Maybe that was the only reason. They just wanted to be like, hey, remember Vivy? That show that you've been watching for the last 3 months?
Right. I don't know. I have been recommending this to a lot of people.
Yeah, pretty much everyone that breathes.
As long as they're not little kids, this should be like a solid show for anybody. It's really compelling, I think.
Would you say the same thing about our next show, Shadow House, made by Cloverworks? You might know them from Wonder Egg Priority and Promise to Neverland.
I would say that this show grew on me, and I don't know where it is because it's technically not over.
I think that, it's not over. We do have one more episode, which with Cloverworks now, we'll get into it in a little bit as well. We know that they can't be trusted. They can do some of the best looking things and we could fall in love with everything that they show us. But man, we can't trust them to follow through.
I think I disagree. I think they're perfect. They've never done anything wrong.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, Shadow House started out as just like I don't really know what's going on. Mm-hmm. This is kind of interesting, but like nothing super compelling until the point where it was like 3 or 4 episodes in, maybe it was 5, where something actually happened. And we were like, oh, there's darker stuff happening here. Okay. They're like monster creature type things and they brainwash people and what's going on? Like a lot of this is, I don't understand what's happening. There are shadow people. They have real people that are living dolls that are supposed to replicate the way that the shadows look and be their face for them.
Right.
That's the base plot. Living dolls also clean up everything because the shadow people emit soot. So everything gets very dusty and sooty and everything's covered with like a thin layer of just black dust that they have to clean up. And if they don't clean up, that dust can manifest itself into a monster type creature, which is no good. So we're like, oh shit, that's probably the plot of the show.
Not
you
even.
Fucking idiot. You don't even know what the plot of the show is and the show's like over.
Yeah. I know that like when this show started, I was like, it gave me like early Promised Neverland vibes. Like, oh, it's like a young cast of characters and like there's a mystery element. I don't know what it is. And there was a lot of us guessing like, what is going on, right?
By like episode 3, we had met some more characters and we're like, what's the situation? Everyone's got different stuff going on. I don't really know.
What's going on here?
She seems a little bit weird. Oh, that's a pretty intense person.
Yeah.
Oh, that person doesn't even talk. Like, just everything's bizarre.
Dude, yeah, there's that episode where like one of the girls that's on Rico's like
the cleaning crew
gets flogged essentially. It's like I was like, what the fuck? I was like, where did that come from? It's a strangely dark show, which you wouldn't guess because it looks like really childish and like really pretty and stuff.
And we never did get into certain things, which it seemed like there was going to be a theme of sexual abuse with one of the characters. Never really happened. They never addressed how that character interacts with the other character that they might be abusing. I don't really know. Or whether they're both okay with it. But like it's got some brainwashing element. It's got a lot going on.
Yeah. I will say that I think near the end, I feel like the last maybe 3 episodes. One episode they legitimately just tell you like, oh, this is it. This is the situation. This is the deal. This is what the soot people and the shadow people and what their vibe is. And I go,
like right at the end.
And I go, oh, okay, cool. I feel like it could have maybe told me differently or whatever, but
everything is a mystery. The way that they do certain stuff and like reveal information, I think it feels pretty okay.
Okay.
Even if it's not like how I expected it to happen, that's how it's happening, and I'm okay with it. They're finally like telling us what's going on with the world, and we get to learn more about other characters that are more involved with it at the same time, which it feels like they're trying to set up other characters while also slipping us pieces of evidence of what the actual plot is, what's going on. So it's a lot of mystery, but it doesn't really address the mystery very frequently. So that's the issue with this show, is that you are compelled from the mystery, but you don't get a whole lot of response back. So more than half of the season is all one specific event, which is just wandering around a garden essentially.
Right.
Which is interesting in its own way, but it's more of we're seeing these characters interact with each other and that's about it. And it feels like it should have ended a while ago.
I got kind of bored with that part actually. Like there was just like, it kind of became tedious and there was just a lot of like them doing stuff and me being like, what's the time schedule on this? Because they had to get this mission done essentially by the time the soot rose all the way to the top. And I go like, well, but how long is that?
How long
is that a day? Is that a couple hours?
Don't know.
Because it was wild how they were able to just kind of get stuff. And then we would kind of cut back to like the higher ups overlooking stuff and saying things. I'm like, but I'm glad that ended. And then like quite cool. And I like where we're at now. I don't know. Do you know, this is based off a manga, but do you know if like we're gonna get a second season, or if this is...
I don't know. Okay. The way people are talking about it online is it seems like this is gonna be another wrap up at the last minute kind of situation, because there either isn't enough content of the manga, or that's kind of what the manga does.
Oh, yeah?
I don't really know. Okay. But the thing is, a lot of fans of the manga, which hasn't been released in the United States, so I really don't want to like attest to any of their things being for true until I read it. But A lot of people are saying that some small elements have been changed, some characters have been changed. So there is a specific point that something significant happens with a couple of characters. And that might be different in the manga. I didn't go into too much detail, but it sounded like there's some mixed reception from the people that read the manga. However, I've also heard that other people that read the manga are like, whatever, these people are whiny as hell. The anime is still good. It's just not exactly the same.
That happens sometimes. Sometimes you can't, obviously you can't please everybody.
I mean, that's how I felt at the beginning of the Promised Neverland season 2. Because I was like, hey, they're skipping some stuff, but here's some extra fun juice that you might want to know.
And then
it got to one point where I'm like, I'm not going to say anything anymore because I don't know what's happening. I'm confused. So I guess this last episode that you and I watched, since it's not fully out yet, of Shadow House, it was very different than the manga.
Right. Okay. All right. So, well, I mean, I like Shadow House. I think it's fine.
I think it's fun.
Do I think that it's like a next?
It's not a must watch.
Yeah, I don't think it's the next classic. I don't think it's the next like, oh man, telling everybody about this.
But if season 2 happened and it was really good, I would be like, all right. Hey, season 2 is looking really good. Everyone should go and watch the first season, and then we would all get burnt because Promised Neverland season 2.
I think because it's almost 13 episodes, right? Like, and I still don't know what the end goal is. You know, like I was like, I don't know what season 2 would be. They haven't even told us what that is. Like, because for most of this season, it was like, let's get through the debut. It was like, we did it. What's next? And they go, even the show be like, we don't fucking know. We're shadow people. I was like, what the fuck did I know then? But yeah. I think it's worth watching. I don't think it's a must watch, and I had a good time with it this season. And I fucking love the outro. It's so good. Good song. Good fucking.
Honestly, I wound up really liking the intro as well, but I wouldn't listen to the intro on its own. I just think it fits so well with the show. The outro. Again, not a song I would listen to on its own, but it fits so good with the outro. And it does have like a good beat and jam.
I like it. Yeah.
It's a good jam, dude.
Every now and then the outro comes in, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a good time over here. Shadow House. Fuck yeah. You know.
And the lyrics, I think, are really interesting too.
Man, good stuff.
Great stuff.
Good stuff.
Great, perfect stuff. Hey, speaking of perfect stuff, let's talk about the sequel to Megalobox, which was such a fantastic show. Nomad Megalobox 2 is made by TMS Entertainment. They also did the first season, as well as you know what I'm saying. Fruits Basket and Dr. Stone.
Oh, nice. Like, I can't wait to see was it Veggie Sack when it comes out.
Yeah, Veggie Sack, right. So this is an interesting thing. I don't want to talk too much about it because it is a sequel. What I do want to say though is that this sequel is not necessary. I feel like they wrapped up the first season totally fine. I was really happy with where they left it. In season 2, they come back and they're like, yeah, but like what else happened? And it was kind of sadder. It was more somber. And it's a lot of like working on personal issues with different characters working through their own personal issues and eventually all coming together. I would have liked this if it was a movie. I would have liked this a lot if it was a movie.
Okay, yeah. Would you say that? Because I didn't watch this. I watched one episode. I said I would get back to it. And I was like, you know what? Today is like, no, I'm just not gonna.
I think it's 100% worth watching.
Okay.
I had a really good time with it. I liked it all the way through to the end.
Would you call this the Eureka 7AO of Megalobox? Not at all. Okay, good. That's good to hear. I'm not.
But I do think that if you were having a good time and you enjoyed all of Carol and Tuesday,
right?
But you also happen to recognize the second half is
not being as strong.
Less strong.
Yeah.
That's this situation.
Okay.
I do think that this is better than the second half of Carol and Tuesday, but I love some of the songs. Honestly, I love Polly Jean. That's such a good intro. I fucking love Polly Jean.
It makes up for the entire second part of Carol and Tuesday being boring as shit.
I like the whole thing with the guy in the wheelchair. I liked a lot of Carol and Tuesday.
Wasn't the end of Carol and Tuesday when they just all get together and sing "We Are the World"? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that shit sucked.
Yeah. No, it was. Are you kidding me? It changed the like history of the universe,
and that's when everybody was watching for 7 minutes. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Shut up.
Yeah. So Megalobox season 2, it addresses different characters. It does have about 10-year time jump. I think.
Okay. Cool.
It addresses some characters' issues. It addresses Joe's issues from the first season that have carried over in different ways. He relies on painkillers. He's pretty depressed. He meets up with somebody else who's able to pull him out of that and teach him some stuff. And then Joe goes back and he wants to kind of make amends, if possible, for the mistakes that he's made in his life. He was pushed away from the group of kids and the old man from the first season. I will tell you that the guy from the first season that was the coach, he is dead. He died. He died in the hospital, and it was during Joe's last game. So it was like a really last match. Okay, my bad.
I'm sorry. Is this the last match of the first season?
No.
Okay, a match happened after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it fills in some gaps throughout the second season and the first season. It'll be like, these things happen, and this is why these characters feel this way. So it does a lot of like flashback shit.
But you feel like this could have just been like a movie, and
I feel like a lot of the things that they did in this were stretched out. I feel like they could have gotten to the points a little bit faster, but what they wanted us to do is they really wanted us to feel the struggle of these characters, making amends and growing. And I think that they did a really good job at that. I think that they did successfully make me feel like these characters worked their ass off to get where they are. They worked really hard to repair their friendships and bonds, and I think that the way that it ended wasn't necessarily like 100% happy, similar to the first season, but it felt a lot more like this was the more mature, I guess, season to watch.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sure I'll get around to this sometime, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound horrible, but just didn't do it this season. So, but yeah, cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Again, you said this isn't like something it's like a must watch, but you would recommend it to some people, right?
I would recommend it to people.
Yeah,
I think that if you watch the first season and you would like more, you would probably enjoy the second season, but it's a very different tone than the first season.
I know a lot of people didn't even know this was coming out. I remember like telling some of my friends like, "Hey, dude, you could watch Megalo season 2," and they're like,
"Season 2."
And they go, "What?" Yep. I was just like, yeah, they're making the Nomad, and they're like, what is it? Like, I don't fucking know, but it's coming out. So it may be just kind of under the radar. I remember Megalobox really enjoying it, so I'll get around to this one eventually.
And then the last show that we will absolutely be talking about, just one episode.
One very long episode.
One long ass episode. Wonder Egg Priority, also made by Cloverworks. Now here's the thing.
Banger.
We already talked about Wonder Egg Priority last season of anime, and it was fantastic. Yeah. It ended in kind of like an unresolved, unfinished kind of way. And they announced that they would have another episode 3 months down the line. We got stoked. We were all ready for it. Honestly, it's just such a fucking good show.
I remember you saying like, yeah, dude, Wonder Egg's coming out. And you're like, it's going to be so fucking good. I was like, yeah, dude, it should fucking be good. It's great.
Are you kidding me?
They're like, it's gonna be longer. It's like, I think at one point, like, we didn't know how long it was gonna be.
Yeah, they said it'll be at most an hour.
And we're like, oh, dude, it's gonna be fucking killer. I remember today, because I watched it today. You watched it today too.
Yeah.
And I texted you. I was just like, hey, dude, it's 25 minutes of recap. And you go, what is? I go, Wonder Egg. And you're
like the priority?
Yeah. And he's just like, what? And I was like, yeah, dude. And so then when I finished it, I wanted to talk to you about it, but I was like, I got to make sure he's watched it. Yeah. And I said, hey, man, we should talk about this before, we get on the pod. And you said, oh, I'm finishing To Your Eternity. I'll do this one next. And you said, I wanted to save Wonder Egg for the end, best for last. And I was just like, and in my head, I'm just like, like biting my tongue, like, don't say anything, let him watch it.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to save it for best for last, but I think I already blew that with To Your Eternity, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, shot yourself on the foot with that one. So yeah, so this like I said, it's 40 something minutes long. It's 25 minutes of recap. So if you already watched the first 12 episodes,
enjoy it again.
Go ahead and watch it again. I only watched it because I was like, well, is there going to be anything extra? I didn't know how long the recap was.
Even though you said that, I was like, I'm just gonna see. It's the last episode.
Well, yeah,
maybe there's something.
I was like, it's only 40 minutes, right? It's like,
yeah.
No, it's nothing new, right? Everything's exactly the same. Like,
which sucks because also there was another recap episode, and the recap episode happened during the season because of a bunch of production issues, and because I think it was director or producer or something was hospitalized a couple of times. So, it was a whole bunch of shit.
So it almost felt like, hey man, why did you tell us that you were doing this special episode? Like, you should have just been like, look man, we're gonna get the episode out. It's obviously not done. We waited 3 months for something amazing, and I was just kind of left disappointed and like underwhelmed with and unresolved,
so unfulfilled.
Well, yeah, it's like so. Anyways, talking about this last episode, and episode 12, to get for people who don't know, we meet, I guess what we would call the bad guy, right? Like the person that's like that kind of started this whole issue, this original AI or whatever. And she's brutal. She's created like other.
I think we knew about her a little bit before, but then we were seeing like the full effects of what she was up to.
She's made other AIs, I'm assuming, that essentially are really strong and beat the shit out of, our main characters and kill some of their pets and feed them to them. And it's just like, it's really...
Yeah, it was sick and fucked up, man.
It was fucking heavy. And I was like, oh my God, I was ramping up for this end-all fight.
Yeah.
And instead what we got was a lot of the girls kind of like dealing with their trauma, being like, oh my God, I'm so fucking stressed. I don't want to fucking go back. And by this point, 3 of the 4 girls have completed their mission. They've done the thing. They've brought back the person that they wanted to save back to life, right? Which was kind of like the whole conceit of the show. Like, you go into this fantasy world, you fight some monsters, and if you do it enough times, the person that committed suicide that you care about will come back to life. It happened, which was great, right? We were missing just one girl who needed to do her final mission or whatever, and we didn't know if it happened. And guess what? We don't even get to see that part. Like it doesn't even happen in this last episode. Instead, we get to find out that like these girls that are all back from being dead or whatever don't remember anybody. Like they don't remember their the characters that saved them. Essentially, they've been wiped from the brain, and we find out there's this parallel world issue, right? It's like that's what it was, right? It's parallel worlds, right? Like it's like, hey, cool, that person in that world is probably still dead, but we kind of you're now in a new world where they're alive, but they don't know who you are, and it's like just kind of a huge bummer, right? And at the end, we find out that the 4th girl who needed to finish her mission, she hasn't come back from the fantasy world, the fucking the dream world or whatever. And we're like, well, we're gonna go get her. And I was like, are you gonna go get her? And they don't. They find out that she was also an AI and that she finished her mission, but then she died, or she was stuck, or she decided to stay. It was just a bunch of extra ideas that you were talking about that like just they decided to kind of throw in about like at the last minute.
As somebody who watches movies and television, let me tell you how I expect my finales to go. You're going to wrap up all the story. You're going to wrap up all the plot points that you've given us. You're not going to let us just sit there wondering, what the fuck did I just watch? Mm-hmm. There's always a chance that there's something that's supposed to be ambiguous. Like, oh man, is this still an issue? Did they resolve it?
Was he in a dream? Kind of like...
However you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's okay. I think it's kind of lazy, personally. I'm like, you tell us
how
what happened,
ends,
so that we can go, oh yeah, that shit's still fucked up. Like, I think the best job of leaving things ambiguous is done by like The Descent, for example. Is she still stuck in those caves, or did she get out?
Right, yeah.
It's up to you as a viewer to decide what happened. But Wonder Egg Priority decided to go against all normal storytelling devices. They were like, what if, for the last special episode, we just said, hey, here's everything that happened in the first 12 episodes, and also, how about we bring up a bunch more plot points that you guys aren't even fucking ready to handle, and we aren't either, and we're not going to conclude it. We're just going to bring up a bunch of extra shit that you didn't need to know ever, because it doesn't influence how the rest of the show felt at all.
And it also wasn't like shit that we saw or anything. It was just stuff that was told to us, right? It was like, oh, cool, the secretary's letting us know what the deal is, or like...
we're just being filled in. We're not a part of the process.
Exactly. Like
it felt bad.
Like when we do get to find out about the 4th girl going in and fighting her fight and winning her thing or whatever. It's just like cool. They said come here. We're gonna watch her dream together. We recorded it. We didn't get to see any of it. It was
we watched the end of the dream.
It was just them sitting there watching the thing and being like,
yeah.
Okay, cool, good to know. I was like, what the? It was all telling, no showing, right? And I was just like, this is. It just felt like such a letdown, such a waste.
It was.
And then to top it all off,
to top off,
at the very end, our main character girl, that's her name.
Yep.
She decides to,
which also might be a reference to the plot
to AI
at this point.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. They didn't really put that together until the very end.
Yeah.
But she has made the conscious decision to not go back to the dream world to save her friend, right? She's just like, that's it. We're going to cut that tie. the two other girls have also kind of resigned themselves. They're like, we're not going back. You know, it was too hard. It's not good for their mental health, which is like, cool. That's their decisions. So our girl decides not to do it. And then we get a quick little wrap up. She's like, hey, so because my friend that I saved doesn't remember me, there's no real point in staying in this school. I'm going to transfer. I'm living a different life. She's happier now, even though she just kind of looks okay, right? She's not like she has a group of friends or anything. She's essentially drifted apart from the people from
from her close, tightly knit group of friends
that she never had. The people that she made together, like they kind of drifted apart. At the very end, she just gets like this moment where it all kind of comes back to her, rushes her. I think they're at the same spot where her and her friend, like, you know, were a while ago, and she's just like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and then she just runs. And then she makes it all the way back to where she used to buy the eggs, and the two fucking robo dudes are there. And she's like, I'm here. I'm going to fucking save the day. You know? And it's like, what? Where did this come from? Where did this switch and then the switch back kind of happen, right? It just felt like, are you setting us up for a second season? Are you setting us up for a movie? Do you want to leave it on a positive note? Like,
it said the fucking end, dude. Yeah. What do you want? It's over.
That's what I'm saying.
It's over, Juan.
No, nothing's ever fucking over. They could always bring shit back. That's stupid.
So Crunchyroll had some other show.
Oh my God. All I'm saying is that like the ending was messy.
It was messy. It was pointless. We didn't need it. They fucked up. It should have ended on episode 12. Don't watch episode 13 if you already did watch episode 13.
Sorry, yeah.
All right, well, whatever.
Episode 12 does end better. That being said, yeah, the ending sucks. I still really liked Wonder Egg. I love the way it looks.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I don't regret watching it, but it went from, oh, man, is this going to be the best anime of all time? Into... No, it's not. No. It's fucking not. They didn't know what they were doing. They were so ambitious. They had such cool ideas. They delivered on so much. And then they realized they ran out of time and budget and like whatever the fuck. And we got what we got.
Yeah, this for sure was going to be one of those shows that I recommended to everyone.
Yeah.
Now it's now if I recommend someone, it's that caveat like, hey man, the ending's not strong.
If you're looking for something really cool, enjoy this. Know that you're going to be unsatisfied.
Yeah.
But you'll have a great time every episode up until the end. Mm-hmm. So yeah, really hard to recommend to people, but it's also I'm really glad that we got to experience what the show gave us.
I still enjoyed it for when we had it, and how we would come back every week and be like, dude, that last episode, like this part, like they can't take that away from us. Ooh, that shiver. But yeah, that ending is really hard, man. It really bums the entire thing down. So yeah, it is what it is.
So Crunchyroll. All right, so Funimation did great. They killed it this season. Everything that I watched on there, I had an amazing time with. Wonder Egg was just a little like slip in at the end caveat that we had to include this week.
Because it literally came out today, I think.
Yeah, it came out yesterday, yeah.
So
like 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll, however, also has some absolute fucking bangers, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're starting off with To Your Eternity, made by Brainspace. You might know them from Natsume Yuujinchou and Durarara. Both totally different kinds of shows than To Your Eternity, but both also very strong in different ways. I think that To Your Eternity is one of the most emotional shows of the season, while it also remains like very fun, very lighthearted, and very intense. It's got a lot of different like intense action wise, right? So it has a lot of different elements that somehow wind up being meaningful and having depth.
It's like really, yeah, like, you know, like when you're picking a character in a game, you know, it's like this one's high defense, this one's high attack, like this one's well-rounded, bro. Like everything it does well, you know?
It is a robust show that is not afraid of treating the viewers like full-grown adults.
Yeah, it's for sure mature. It's I wouldn't say this is like for like a younger audiences. There's themes of death that like kind of come up, and it's like it's sad.
I mean, when you say younger audience, you mean like a child.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like if you're like maybe like 10 or under, like you shouldn't be watching this. If you're like a teenager, this is probably on that level, because
I'm telling you right now, if I was 11 and I saw this shit, I would be like, this show is my favorite show I've ever seen.
If I was 11 and watched this, I'd be like, God damn it, nothing's ever going to be this good, because then I'm going to watch other shows and I'm like, this is garbage. It's not To Your Eternity. Fucking before we get into it, the intro, we talked about this. Oh my God.
Honestly, best song of the season by far.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because of course, you know, it's just opinions, but best song by far. The intro sequence, compelling, because you start off not knowing shit about what you're about to get into.
Yeah.
And then as it keeps going, it like, oh yeah, okay, so that's kind of, ooh, I hope that this doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe about that. When's that guy gonna be here?
Exactly.
You know, like, there's a lot to ask.
There's a lot, and then since we don't know what the show is, we don't know what to trust. But so far, I think by the end of it, I go like, I feel like this intro, was doing a lot, and I was just not really, I didn't know about it. But that song fucking kills. And in the intro, visually, it still looks fine.
Yeah.
But the show,
great, yeah.
Show's great. I know that my friend Kyle told me about the manga being really good, and I was just like, okay, cool. When someone says, hey, the manga was good, or the source material was good, it's like it's always on the radar, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
it's on the radar, but you also don't know how it's going to be, because a lot of stuff, people are like, Tower of God, God of High School, fucking incredible, and then the reception of the anime, a lot weaker lukewarm, in general.
Or like fucking Records of Ragnarok. What a great manga. And you're like, this show sucks ass.
Show blows.
Right? So it starts off with a spear, right? That's what it is. It's some sort of like ball that comes down to Earth and it turns into a rock. And it just copies a rock. And eventually, I think a wolf dog dies on that rock. And then the rock becomes a wolf. And we go, what is this? And that's our character.
That's our character.
This thing we don't know what it is. Has essentially, whenever something that near it dies, it embodies that characteristic and it learns and stuff. So we're kind of going from this dumb rock to a fully developed character by the end of the show.
Yeah, which as the character is developing, the emotional depth that the character has
also,
influences their capabilities.
Right.
So essentially, at the beginning, just a rock turns into like the next thing that it touched it. So it gets to learn about that through touch, and that's essentially it. Once it gains emotional depth, then it's the effects of its actions are tied to other things instead of just, happenstance, I happen to be here. Everything is much more drawn to purpose, I guess.
Yeah.
Which makes it so much more interesting as you keep watching it to go like, wow, this thing has really turned into an actual full character and kind of human.
Oh yeah, but I think by the episode, I don't know, maybe like 9 or 10, I was just like, it can talk, like, and it's like, it's not like the bad talking it was doing around episode 6 or whatever. It's like, it's forming.
It passed a bunch of years.
Yeah, it's forming full sentences. And I was like, wow. And then by the end of it, I was just like, wow, this still not completely like whole, like it still doesn't understand how to do a lot of like emotional things, right? Like
and this is the mid-season check-in, by the way. This show is amazing. It's still going. I don't want to spoil much because it is still airing, but essentially we see something go from nothing at all into just a creature into some kind of a weird sentient zombie person, which is all within the first episode, so
no spoilers there.
No, nothing big. Into just a very well-developed actual character.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice. Like,
it's not so much about our main character either.
No.
It's about everyone around him, and the journey that he is on is more so other people's journey that he happens to be around.
Yeah, like all the people around him really mold the type of person he becomes, and it's just like, wow, I can't wait to fall in love with all these people around him. And
situational happenstance, baby.
Yeah, and then fucking sad shit happens, like all the time.
So much. This is like the saddest show during the entire most recent episode. Dude, I was full tears like the whole time, just nonstop. Like, fuck, another reason. Why'd you do that?
They did a really good job of being like, hey man, think about the saddest thing that could possibly happen. They go, cool. It's like, we're gonna make it sadder. And like,
how did you do that? Though?
And then I go, wow, what a really beautiful moment. And I go,
but not in a like, we're just making you feel like a fucking piece of shit. Fuck you.
For the
you're
sake
sad.
of it. Yeah,
no, it's a lot more like you've grown attached. So has our other character. And now we're emotionally like evolving and responding to something.
I think
it was interesting.
I think it's been a long time since an anime has made me cry. And I don't think I cried for this most recent episode, but for sure earlier in this season, somewhere around, I don't know, episode 4 or 5, I'm going to say something sad happens. And that one really got me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
watching this latest episode, I reflected back on that one. And I was like, yeah, dude, don't fucking roll those balls of dirt, man.
Exactly. Because then they added it later. They're like, well, like, you're sad? Let's double down. Those fuckers. But I didn't think like after watching that episode, earlier in the season, I was like, oh man, this show's just gonna keep doing this. It's just gonna bring people in for them to like, make them go away and stuff like that. And then I was just like pleasantly surprised, like, oh man, no, like this.
Well, that's
this
how
show
I thought the very first episode. It was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna get to meet these characters, feel sad, and then do it again.
But no, they did even worse, where they like make us care for them and they stay around for a while, and we never really know what's going to happen to anybody. Like,
dude, even watching this last episode, I was like, I don't fucking know what's going to happen.
No one's safe. Honestly, no one's safe.
No one's safe ever. All these side characters they introduce that have complex lives and stories, they just go away.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Yeah. And our main character, I don't know if you mentioned this, he's essentially immortal. Like, he can't die, right?
Yeah. That's established very quickly too.
I think in this most recent episode, he got like smushed pretty bad, and I thought for a second term, I was like, oh my god, he's fucking dead, and I was just like, wait, hold on, no, his ability is not to die. like that stressed me out.
What an amazing show! Yeah. I don't want to go too much into detail, but if you aren't watching To Your Eternity, you need to start. You gotta do yourself a favor and just watch it. It is so good.
This one is for sure an absolute must start. It looks good. There's great character development. The story's compelling.
If you're watching it at the beginning and you're like, it's kind of a slow start. I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, it winds up being so compelling the more that you watch. First episode, fantastic, easy watch, kind of emotional, but you're not fully invested. Second episode, totally different story, totally different characters, totally different stuff going on. And then a couple episodes into that, and you're like, yeah, I'm into this. This is really good. But it's hard because you can't decide if you want to put yourself in the like mindset of, okay, we're going to have these small little stories and we're going to move forward, or if you're just going to go along for the ride. Right. And you really have to commit to, we're just going to see how this plays out, because anything can happen at any point, and it really does.
There's also like this like mystery element,
there's like a whole bunch.
Like, what is he? Who? Why is he this way? What is his goal? Like, and where we're at now, there's no real answer to that. And what's funny is that I think the mystery element that was somewhere within mid-season, I was kind of like this in my head. Like, I was just like, this is kind of stupid. I don't care, right? But where I'm at now, the mystery's still there. I'm interested to know what it is, but it's by no means why I watch it. I
don't give a fuck.
I watch it for all the characters. Whenever that happens to come in again, I go, cool, do what you're gonna do. But I don't care. I'm too busy caring about other things that are happening.
If anything, I'm concerned about it. I am worried about it, because what if that fundamental thing that keeps being brought up, that keeps being like, this is where the story needs to go, what if that just gets rid of all the things that I like about it, because it's gonna change so drastically? And I'm afraid. I
don't know, dude.
Who knows? We'll find out. We'll talk about this next season wrap up, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So check it out if you haven't gotten a chance to. It's an absolute must watch. So.
Oh, it's so good. I'm going to talk a little bit about Zombieland Saga Revenge. Dope. Not a lot, but just a little bit. This is the second season of Zombieland Saga. It's made by MAPPA. They did the latest season of Attack on Titan, the final season, and Banana Fish, amongst a bunch of others. Zombieland Saga Revenge is a much more chill watch. It's like less emotional, I guess, than the first season. The first season, I guess the director really wanted to go for like heavy emotions, but then there was a lot of feedback internally while they were making it, and they just made it a more fun, like idol type show where all these characters have died and they've become idols in their next life as zombies. There's a little bit of like mystery and intrigue going on with it, but in general, it's just you're watching some girls that happen to be zombies and idols have fun and learn how to deal with those complicated situations in their life that they kind of have to deal with.
You ever been a zombie and a teenage girl at the same time?
So yeah, the first season is like, how did they die? How does that affect them? And they move forward. Season 2 is like, All right, so there is a plague that is going to destroy all of Saga, and we need to do our best to make sure that that prophecy is not fulfilled. This curse cannot happen. We need to make sure to do everything we can to save Saga, which has been kind of the plot in the first season of like, hey, we have to save Saga, but it was more of a like,
let's put it back on the map.
Hey, let's like get recognized for doing some cool shit. Saga's an area in Japan, just whatever. Yeah. They're just trying to be like, hey, look at my little area. We're doing cool shit, which is always good. But season 2 just had a bunch of fun. It was goofing around. Did some backstory, some like origins of the curse and zombies and all that shit. And it was, it was all right. And then it got down to the last episode, which was also really enjoyable. And the end was the most surprising end of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, hey man, have you ever seen anything where this happens? And you were like, what do you mean?
Yeah. No, it was like you sent me a text like, hey man, I know
don't spoil it.
No, I know. But you're like, hey, I know you don't watch Zombieland Saga, but you have to see this. I was like, all right, let's see it. And you like, I figured you were going to tell me, but you sent me like a clip of it, and I was just like, it's just like 30 seconds. Like, okay. Yeah. And I check it out and I go, what the fuck just happened? And you're like, right. And I go, I don't know.
I think it's the boldest shit any show has ever pulled.
Yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
Mad respect, dude. I don't know if there's going to be another season. I don't know if there's going to be a movie. I don't know about anything. All I could say is that the signs were there
the whole time.
2 photos.
The whole time we knew.
2 promotional photos. The signs were there, baby. That was a wild ride. I had so much fun. I don't know how to respond to it. I can't believe that's how a show ended. I wish I could share it with everybody, but I think that it's worth, if you're in for like a chill, fun, lighthearted time, Zombieland Saga is totally worth it. You just pop it on. Some cute girls doing cute things. It's a little bit of idle stuff. Second season, I feel like, is stronger than the first in a lot of different ways. But then that finale, bro, it was like, oh man, I mean, remember when you saw Avengers Infinity War?
Yeah, this snap where it's like, I can't wait for Thanos to get his shit rocked. And then you go, what's going on? And there's people in the theater like yelling and crying.
Yeah, so it felt like Avengers Endgame, the end of that. And then right after that, they were like, yeah, but what if we did the end of Avengers Infinity War, like right after Endgame? That's the way it felt. That's the most I'll say without spoiling much. It was just like a fucking 180 is how it felt.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to know about it, watch the show, or I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but we're not going to spoil it here or anything.
Yeah, just look up Zombieland Saga Revenge End, and then you'll watch the like minute clip. It's so fucking great.
Yeah, enjoy that.
I love it. So I don't want to say anything more. Go out of your way to watch it if you want to. Tokyo Revengers, made by Leiden Films. They did Cells at Work, Code Black, and Hanebado. Please tell us about Tokyo Revengers, Juan.
This is another one where a friend said, hey, man, the manga's good. I was like, okay, I read some of the manga, and then I instantly forgot about it.
I think most people were like, oh, I'm so fucking jacked for this show because the manga?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, the manga?
And then the show came out, and I was like, it's like, what's this about? I go, oh, that's right. It's some sort of time travel or whatever. And I like time travel. Like, one of my favorite animes is Erased, right? I also really like Steins Gate that you showed me, and there's, other shows that have time travel in them. You like Madoka Magica, right? I've only ever saw the recap movies. I didn't know there was an actual series. That's my bad.
Whatever.
But yeah, so I was like, cool, I'll check this out. And I was like kind of in it for the beginning, right? And then by like episode 2 or 3, I was just like, you know what? I'm not convinced. Like, I don't think this is like by any means like a must watch, right? But
I wasn't convinced from the first episode. Right. Then I watched 2 or 3 more, and I was like, yeah, I am convinced not to watch it. So keep me up to date. And then you were like, I will.
Yeah, for sure. So I kept watching it, and it was at one point, I was like, I'm kind of just like, I'm along for the ride. But it's not like breaking any fucking like, it's not groundbreaking stuff. It's not like, it would never hit that point where it's like, Trip, you have to watch this, Okay. And then we got to, I think the last episode. And I was like, okay, cool. Everything's cool and stuff. And then it all becomes bad again. And I go, wow, that was really good. They fucking tricked me. So I like the show. Do I think it's, like I said, a must watch? Is it the top of the list of like, time travel animes or whatever? Because time travel is a really hard thing to get right in any sort of media, whether that's books, TVs, comic books.
Sure.
It's not easy to do, right? and I don't think this is like the cream of the crop when it comes to time travel, but I did enjoy it. A lot of it is, our main character going back in past, and like he's having to try to save his girlfriend his ex-girlfriend from dying in the future, right? Yeah. So he's not very good at it because our main character is just kind of shitty. Like he's not very smart. Yeah. He's not very strong. What he does very well is get his ass beat. Like that, he gets the shit rocked out of him like all the time. And I got kind of tired of him getting beat up. I was like, come on, dude, like do something. Like a lot of them in the in between stuff, I was just like, why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you like making moves to? And he's just like, it almost like he forgot that he was on a time travel mission. And I was just like, you fucking idiot. All that being said, he does eventually do things. Like he steps up. He becomes more, I don't know. I'm not gonna say manly. He becomes more brave. Essentially, he still gets his ass beat while being brave, right? But he's doing it. He's becoming a better person, and people around him that he cares about, he's protecting and stuff. So it's like, okay, cool. That's a positive thing. He's getting better. But like I said, where it ends now, this most recent episode, which I think is the end of the season. I don't think this is too core, and I don't know if there'll be a second season.
What's the plot of the show?
Like I said, like the plot is this guy is kind of a loser. He's in his 20s, and he finds out that his ex-girlfriend died in some sort of accident that was created by a gang, like a Yakuza, a gang that he actually knew about that started when he was in middle school. So somehow he discovers that like he can go back in time. Like he just like, I think he gets pushed in front of a train, and he just flashes back, and he's like now back in middle school, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he's kind of going through the motions. And he discovers that he's able to kind of come back to the present if he shakes hands with his ex-girlfriend's little brother. And so then he does that. He comes back to the present day, and the little brother is there and pulls him out of like the train track, saves him, and is just like, oh, hey, dude, you saved me with the information that you gave me, because he also died in that altercation that killed his sister. He's like, I'm a police officer now. It is our goal to make sure this never happens. So with his resources as a cop, he's able to like kind of try to decipher what happened with this middle school like biker gang that led them to be this super powerful, ruthless, group of criminals. And so he gets sent back every time to be like, cool, your mission this time is to make sure that this fight doesn't happen. Your mission this time is to make sure that this person doesn't die. Your mission this time is like stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, by no means is it like what's the word, like mind bending and stuff. It's not like super hard. It's like, go back, make sure this guy doesn't get stabbed.
Okay.
And he goes back, and that guy still gets stabbed. And he's just like, fuck, I messed up, shit like that. But he still always manages to kind of improve stuff. And like I said, by the end of the first season, I really thought it was done. Like, kind of not done like, oh, this is probably then the end for her. But I was just like,
but you thought it was the end of your journey with this show.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm over. Like, I'm done with it. I'm kind of happy with how this ends, because I knew that like, oh, there's probably still some stuff that he can go back to and fix. I was like, but I wonder, why would he, right? And then like all the stakes get rised up again. Like everything gets cranked to 11, and shit just goes super hardcore for no reason, like no real good reason. And it's just like, fuck, you got to go back. He's got to do it all over again. So yeah, if a second season comes out, I think I had thought originally, if a second season comes out, I probably won't watch it. Now I think I'm more inclined to watch it, especially depending on what else is going out that season. But I did like Tokyo Revengers. I'm not saying it's by any means bulletproof, perfect, a must watch. I can recommend it to some people. I also don't think it looks the best at points. I wish it would have gotten maybe a different studio to take care of it. Maybe that could have made it look visually a little more stunning. But it's not that. It looks the way it is, and it does the things it does.
Are you able to tell me in 30 seconds what the big spoiler is that made you more compelled to watch a second season?
Yeah.
All right. Time starts now.
Am I spoiling it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so he saves his girlfriend and whatever, and everything's fine. And then his best friend, who he also saved from saving his girlfriend, murders his girlfriend. And he's just like, "Why'd you murder my girlfriend?" He's just like, "Oh man!" And then he says the same thing he said the first time he died. He's like, "Fuck." This loop is still not fixed. Essentially, he's got to go back. And then he has a moment with his girlfriend. They rekindle their love, and then she fucking dies and blows up in a car. So I was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta see him save his girlfriend now." So
all right, the end. That was the end of your 30 seconds, and you summed it up perfectly. That makes sense why you would want to see it.
I was like,
again.
I want to see it fixed. You know, I thought it was fixed, and then it wasn't fixed.
Well, shit.
Fuck. Yeah.
But yeah, that's quite the little twister.
Yes.
I don't think I'm gonna watch.
No, I don't think you need to. I don't think it's for you.
That was my convincing point of being like, ooh, what's gonna be the crazy shit that convinces me to watch it?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Sometimes spoilers help. The last episode of Trigun is the first episode I saw, and I was like, I want to see
how
that happened.
Yeah.
So I watched the whole show, and it was fucking amazing.
No, I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's I'm just invested now, and I was like, I want to see it finish. If it finishes, I don't know if it's gonna get a second season. You know, we haven't heard anything, so it is what it is. It's over though. It's done for now.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we'll talk about anime of the season.
Oh, okay. I was like,
we're talking about
One Direct Priority.
Yeah, definitely that. We're talking about Odd Taxi, made by OLM. They've made Pokemon, as well as PICS, who made Spacebug.
Spacebug. That's funny.
You gotta remember it.
I remember that one. Yeah. How do you forget that one? It's an anime. Yeah.
All right. So Odd Taxi is a show that throws you right in the middle of a story that's already happening.
Right.
And it compels you to watch it like right away. Mm-hmm. It was so bizarre tuning into this and being like, oh shit, I can't wait to see what else happens. Mm-hmm. It feels like nothing happened, but it also feels like so much happened. Essentially, you get Zootopia, but it feels like more grounded, I guess, more realistic in a lot of ways. And it doesn't put a heavy emphasis on animals doing things because they're animals. Everyone is just an animal, and they all happen to be
living their lives.
Yeah. They don't do any like BoJack Horseman type puns or like
Mr. Peanut Butter isn't like chasing balls and like scratching himself or anything, you know.
Yeah, they don't try to do any kind of over the top, like we're making emphasis that these animals are fucking animals. And I loved that. Yeah. Like going into it and being like, all these animals are just regular ass dudes. Hell yeah. Oh man. And then we got like a darker kind of plot. I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's confusing because like you see it and like, because they're all animals, they're all designed really, I would say like they're kind of charming and cute. Like
they are all charming. Yeah.
Like one of my favorite designs is the teenage boy who's a giraffe. Did you see him? He's got the glasses and stuff. Yeah. And I go, he's tiny minor character, but whenever he pops on this, I'm like, what a good fucking idea for a character. The way he looks, like I loved it.
I loved looking at everything in this world because it was so grounded, but it was also not.
Yeah, but because it looks the way it looks, you don't expect the story to be about like a missing girl and like, you know, this taxi driver getting involved in crime, right? Like, you know, being like forced to do things he doesn't want to do, and like this is one of those things where like it has a mystery, right? And it's not like it's like it's not like a crazy mystery, like, you know, like To Your Eternity. It's something where like, what happened to that person and why, what's going on and what are people's motives and stuff like that. And every week you come back and you're like, I want to know more. Like I want to know where this is going to go.
It does have a procedural crime kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
While also not having that vibe at all. You watch The Wire and you're like, yeah, this feels like, you know, we're doing a crime show. And you watch Odd Taxi and you're like, I mean, we are doing a crime show,
but it's also fun.
Feel like it for some reason. They have a lot of fun with it. The characters are all unique and interesting in different ways. I mean, there's a villain type of character, not really a villain. I don't know. In this world, it's hard to say people are villains. I guess. Yeah, but there's like a shitty dude who raps and rhymes while he talks. That's like his whole deal.
You know what's like when I was watching this? It's really funny that you like compared. You said like stuff like The Wire and stuff like that. What is really cool about a lot of those HBO shows is they do a really good job of like connecting everyone's kind of story together.
Yeah.
Odd Taxi did that so well. Where it's just like this one taxi driver is just involved in so many people's lives. And unless you had this like, you zoomed out and saw it all, like if some people told you about it, you wouldn't have fucking known that the two comedy guys somehow have connection to this pop idol, to have connection to this fucking hippo dude that's trying to make it viral, connected. Like they're all somehow interlinked, whether that be like a super like big bold like connection or like a little tiny like thin one. And it was just like, it's really cool to see that web and like him kind of being at the epicenter of it.
Yeah. That's essentially the plot of it all. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of interesting stuff. It did remind me a lot of like a more lighthearted, fun Durarara.
That's good. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, but with I think a more manageable cast.
More manageable, less moving parts at the same time. It was more like, all right, we're focusing on this for like half of this episode, and then we'll focus on this for the other half, instead of, oh, what's going on with this? Blah, 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 blah. Durarara's like all over the place, really intense, hard to follow. This makes it palatable, easy to follow, intriguing. You still don't know what's really going on. And then it comes in with such a satisfying conclusion.
Right.
How do you fucking manage that? There was a specific scene of stuff dropping into water. And everybody had a different significant thing dropping into a fluid. Yeah. And it was fucking amazing. Yeah. Watching that scene was so satisfying in the last episode. This is just a satisfying show. It addresses everything. It continues going forward with a cliffhanger. It's for sure a done show. There should not be another season of this. If there is, I feel like they're just going back on everything they just did. But it ends in a way where you're just like, all right, there's a new situation or everything's over.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way it ends.
Yeah. I mean, if there was more, I would kind of, I'm not saying I want there to be more. If there was more, I kind of would really like them to do it kind of akin to The Wire, where like we will see a new collection of characters coming in and seeing how their life is like intertwined. I think that'd be really interesting, because I feel like with the people that we have already, like I don't want to see more of them. I like them.
I want to agree with you so badly, but one of the best parts of this show can't exist.
Which part?
I can't talk about it.
I know we talk about it.
I can't talk about it. But what I can do is tell you, if we were able to do that, I'm in.
I think they could do it if they really wanted to. Nothing's going to stop them. But yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah.
The intro, really good intro. I think so the visuals of the intro, like it was like, because it was like,
it was such a good song too.
Yeah, so it was more artistic, more like colorful and stuff. So it really does trick you to when you watch the show and you go like, this is kind of dark, bro. There's some like elements in here that we like don't expect. Yeah. But it's really good. One of my favorite episodes, I think, is the introduction of the what is he? He's a cat, I think, that's wearing like the skull mask or whatever. Who becomes kind of like a vigilante or whatever. But but when we see him, he's just like a teenage boy collecting erasers, and then he becomes like this other thing.
Yeah, he becomes a killer.
Yeah, I was like,
it's interesting.
Well, yeah, did he kill anybody?
Well, he
becomes a gun-wielding lunatic. But
yeah, gun-wielding lunatic for sure.
But I was like, wow, like it's like this. It honestly felt like I was watching a different anime, because it started off with him. It didn't start off with our taxi cab driver. It just like went half the episode about him, and then cool, now we're back to where we're at. It's a really well done show with really well characters, and I really like the dialogue in this show. The way that people talk to each other, I felt was like really smart, and there's always jokes and there's people on top of each other. So it
was such a well-written show.
This is really good.
There's one thing that I want to bring up, and I'll give myself 30 seconds to have a conversation with you about that. Okay. Do you have anything you would like to bring up as well?
Not really.
Just for anybody trying to avoid spoilers.
No, I mean, I would like to spoil it, but I can't. Yeah. Unless you let me spoil it, I'm not going to.
I am completely spoiling it because I want to talk about one specific thing.
No, I think this is. I think
if are we going?
No, what I'm saying, I'm not going to spoil it. Like, I'm saying, if you don't want it to be spoiled, don't listen to this, because this is absolutely, I feel in my opinion, this is a must watch. This is a show you have to check out.
So we'll give us like a minute here. Come back in a minute and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
All right, starting now. Once it's revealed that everybody is humans and like what happened in the whole backstory, fucking incredible thing. I don't know if you picked up on this, but everything became less fuzzy. Everything was more crisp in the background and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
The animation style totally changed, and it was so great. But everyone looked like their animal counterparts. It was such a good, well done like animation part of the show.
But the reason it did that too is because he had this trauma, this brain trauma or whatever. So like
it makes more sense that everything was fuzzy.
He couldn't see anything. He couldn't sleep. It was like all these things. Smart. And so when that shit got cleared up and it all happened, I was just like, oh yeah, things are better for him. He's like resting, and he can recognize things. Like the whole mystery about what's in his closet is revealed, and we go, that makes sense as to why he didn't know what it actually was, because his brain didn't know what it was. But if this is a thing, if you kind of look back at it, kind of like what is like a ghost, if you look into it, you go, yeah, there were signs the whole time for us to be like, this could have been that. But I'm glad that
we're done. Yeah, that was a minute.
It was a good
great show.
Good secret at the end that they revealed. It was a fun time.
Absolutely. And on to those Snow White notes. So the Snow White Notes was made by Shin-Ai Animation. They did Pui Pui Molcar, which is that, little stop motion animation with the little fuzzy hamster guinea pig things.
Yeah, they're talking about,
Yeah, great. And Teasing Master Takagi-san.
Oh, okay.
You love that shit.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Anyways, those Snow White Notes is about these shamisen players. Is about this one specific dude whose grandpa was an amazing shamisen player. Fucking killed it. So this guy is supposed to be good too. He's a teenager. His mom pretty much left everyone, and she's also like some kind of a singer chick. There's like a lot of weird stuff going on with that. But the main goal is our main character needs to find his inspiration to play the shamisen since his grandpa has died. Mm-hmm. That is where the show starts out, and it develops into him meeting friends and being a part of this club and teaching everyone how to play. And then they do a group performance together. That's the point of the show. It's just a club show. I watched it because I really like the shamisen music that they were playing, and it consistently was enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I really liked that part. I felt like all the characters were pretty weak. The animation was not stupendous. A lot of parts of the show fell flat for me. When you could just watch another show that's about somebody joining a club for some specific kind of a reason. I just happened to watch this because I like shamisen.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's about it. It was doing an okay job at the beginning. Felt like it could go some different places, but it didn't go anywhere. It was just very one note.
Oh, that's funny because they're playing music.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Thanks, man. I try really hard when my brain does things.
Killed it, dude.
I don't want to talk a whole lot about it because I don't give a fuck about it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to remember it if you asked me about it in a year. I would be like, oh, fuck, I forgot. I totally watched that show. Thanks for reminding me. And now I'll forget about it again.
Right. Like, it happens.
That's
it's
all
fine.
that's going to happen.
Sometimes you're kind of already in it and you're like, might as well finish it. Let it be done.
This one, I was really just enjoying the music. Yeah. That's all it was. Just big music vibes, big good times from that. And we're going to wrap it up by talking about My Hero Academia. You know them, you love them. It's made by Bones. They did Mob Psycho 100 and Eureka 7, our two favorite shows.
Yeah, hands down, for sure. Mm-hmm. This is the 5th season.
Okay. And we're halfway through it, so
yeah.
Not much to say, man.
The first half of this season was essentially another, people fighting against
the part of the show that we've watched so far.
People using their quirks, Class A and Class B fight it out, and they show what they've learned, and they show their new powers, and it's fun. It's like
it is fun.
Reminds me a lot of
having fun.
Season 2, which is the sports festival, which is probably my favorite season so far. Stuff like this is always cool. Where like, yeah, I know there's a lot of things going out there in the world. There's a lot of violence in this world, and there's stakes and stuff. But I also kind of just want to see them improve and become heroes and like go to school and stuff. And they did that. So I was really happy.
This was great. And going into the next story arc might not be as great. You never know, because I'll always talk about it. The raid season. They were doing a raid.
Yeah.
I was into it, and I stopped being into it, and it just kept fucking going, and it felt so dreadful. I think it would have been easier to binge watch. Still don't know, because I've never tried that. But then we go into this season, and it just had school shit, and I'm like, wow, this is really like just the same thing again and again, but it feels so different, and it feels good. And I don't understand why it didn't work well during that raid season. And going into the new half of this season is going to be more plot heavy, which can be good. I've liked plots in this show so far. I plan on liking them as it goes on, because it gets just like darker, essentially. There's not really much else to do other than get darker.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I really, really enjoyed this first half. I'm hesitant about the second half, but that helps me enjoy things more, is not having full like, oh, this is going to be amazing.
Well, this next part, because, I've read the manga.
Yeah, you've read. You're learned.
I think it's, I'm going to say, from what I recall, I think it's going to be better than the raid arc.
Okay.
It is going to be different. There's going to be plot, but it's just different, and I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm excited to see how they do this part of the show and see how it turns out. Because I don't think it's gonna be bad by any means, but I don't think it's gonna be boring. But because I don't think it'd be as boring as week by week coming back and then running out the same hallway. So I'm excited to see how it is. I'm excited to see what you think about it. Yeah. I just know that the manga is getting really close to wrapping up. so there is an end to My Hero, right? This whole thing.
And it's actually coming to an end. Okay.
And it's kind of, it's kind of crazy to think that we've been watching this. There's 103 episodes right now. And only two of them were like new to the thing. New to the anime. All of it was, straight from the manga. So it's like, they're doing a really good job in my opinion. So I still like My Hero a lot. I don't really like the new intro. I really the intro for
I just don't give a fuck.
The intro for the beginning of season 5, the first part, I grew on me. I liked it. The second one, not so much. But hey, I'm on it. We're on board. It's one of those things like we're already here. We might as well keep going.
We're already here.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Imagine stopping My Hero after 100 episodes.
Be like, I'm done.
Nah.
No, it's too late. We're already too invested.
We're in it.
Yeah. Check it out. I mean, if you're willing, if you haven't checked it out, I mean, what are you doing, bro? I think at this point, right, we were 100 episodes in. It's like, do you just start watching One Piece? Like, what do you like?
I mean, here's the thing with My Hero Academia. You can check it out. You can watch a couple episodes and decide if you like it or not. Mm-hmm. I think that it was a pretty compelling start. Especially when, there wasn't 100 episodes to expect after that. But if you do have a pretty good time with the first couple episodes, know that you're going to have a pretty good time for like literally all of the episodes.
Right.
The only time where I felt like I wasn't having a good time is because I had to wait so much in between a plot that felt like it wasn't moving forward because we had so much action in between everything. Like, it was weird. It was nonstop. Like, here's another big fight. But it brings us no further to the plot point that we are there for.
Did that raiding arc remind you of the? I've never seen it. I've only ever heard people talk about it. But the Hunter part is not like that.
Didn't feel at all like the Chimera Ant arc is what I'm assuming you're talking about.
A lot of people talk about that.
That was like 40, 50 episodes long for a story arc.
Is that the one where they're taking forever to go upstairs or whatever? Like, there we go.
Yeah, where time is slowed down.
Super. Yeah.
So you're doing it takes like 0.5 seconds for any character to like make progress. Mm-hmm. But we see that in the full 30 minutes.
Right. I'm just curious. I didn't, because I've never seen that one, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I was like, I wonder if it's a similar vibe.
And Chimera Ant arc focused a lot on the emotional connections between characters and like accepting other kinds of people that are from the bad side and whatnot. And I don't know. The raid arc in My Hero was a solid 12 episodes with some really good fights. And it just felt like it was taking a long time because it was just fight after fight in this same place without any progress. But they were all different fights. Mm-hmm. And
they all happened a minute apart. Don't worry about it.
They were all happening pretty much simultaneously.
Same time, dude. It's hard.
But we couldn't see it. So instead you're just like, all right, watch this one fight. And then next episode, hey, during that one fight, this was also going on. Mm-hmm. So it felt slower than My Hero had been. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's such a little complaint.
The music festival. How good was the music festival?
I loved the music festival, honestly. I fucking loved it. I loved that whole story arc afterwards. I felt like it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Even though I liked the raid story, by the end of it, I was like, there are these like really cool fights. I liked these 4 fights. They were all really good.
Yeah.
And to say that and to know that each episode focuses at least on like one of those fights is going to be at least one episode, right? Mm-hmm. I think a couple of them might have been 2 episode fights. They were significant. It was a good season. Anyways, we're talking about this season of My Hero, which is just like they're at school. They're
having a good time.
Like,
it's fun.
Together.
It's fun.
You get to see people doing new powers. You get to see people utilizing their powers in new ways. It's fun. It's enjoyable. You'll have a good time. Please enjoy My Hero if you keep watching it. That's all I want to say about this season of anime, man. I don't have any closing notes, really. I felt like it was an overall really solid season.
Yeah. I feel like in recent seasons we've been able to kind of pick a overarching winner between what streaming site did better. For a long time it was just Crunchyroll. Out of nowhere, Funimation kind of came through.
Yeah, they started doing some good shit.
This season, I will say Crunchyroll and Funimation both did really well. I think I liked. Oh man, it really was great.
It's not even worth comparing because I had such a good time with everything.
Yeah, that's true. There's times where I can't find a show to watch, or I can find a couple. I think I had 6 solid shows in my opinion that I was able to watch them every week and be like, or staggered and stuff. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to these. I can't wait to see what happens. And that's good. We were able to see some photos, like a photo of what's coming out for this next season of anime.
Not as hyped.
Yeah, not as hyped for sure.
Not as hyped.
But we'll be getting into that in a few weeks. Next week, Anime Expo Lite is going to be the topic. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about whether we stream it or not, off air and stuff. But yeah, that's the goal. Thanks for hanging out. if any of these sound interested to you, please check them out. There's some of them that are there that are fucking gold, and there's gonna be ones that like I'm gonna absolutely like tell people, hey, you like anime, you have to watch this. Like, this is a banger.
To Your Eternity,
Odd Taxi,
Vivy Fluorite's song
for sure.
Fucking insane.
Yeah,
such good shows. I can't believe we got those.
Yeah, it's good.
Maybe Shadow House.
Depending.
We might put that in there, but we still have one more episode. So far, it's really good.
They have another chance to
totally
fuck it up.
worth watching right now.
Yeah.
One episode, everything might change. Only because it's Cloverworks. If it was a different studio, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's just going to be like the same shit we already have. It's going to be fine. But Cloverworks has fucked us bad. My Hero has been great. It's consistent. Zombieland Saga, also consistent and good. Like, there are just so many good ones. Megalobox, unnecessary, but a good emotional journey.
Super Cub, really fun. Not a must-watch, though.
So chill. Yeah. It's like one of the best slice of life I've ever seen. There's so many great shows. I'm so happy that we got this season, especially going into next season, which I'm a lot more concerned about. And coming into this, I was stoked about Zombieland Saga, My Hero, and Megalobox, which were all sequels. But then there were other ones that I was pretty excited about as well. I did not expect Vivy or Odd Taxi to blow me away like they did.
I think Vivy out of nowhere, like that literally, that was the first time I ever heard about it. But the Odd Taxi, I think we saw a little snippet of it it was some sort of event. It was either Anime Expo Lite, or it was either Crunchyroll Expo, something. But they showed a little clip of it, and I was like, that looks really interesting. I think it was Crunchyroll Lite, and I was just like,
it was Crunchyroll.
Like, that looks interesting. And then to be as good as it was, it had no right to be that good. It was so fucking good.
No, it was really good. I love anime, man. I'm glad that we get to watch so much anime. I don't know if I would do it without this podcast, to be honest.
Seasons like this for sure make me appreciate anime. Whereas it's like, cool, man, having a good time. So
anime's what's up.
That's it, man. That's the show. Like we said, next week, Anime Expo Lite. Don't forget to go fucking register.
You gotta go register.
Go register if you can.
Gotta do it.
You gotta register. If you like our theme song, go check out Not Mars on Spotify. Where will find us?
You can find us on Facebook. Look up the Instagram podcast. Same thing goes for Instagram. Look up the Instagram podcast. If you want to tweet at us, tweet at InstaRamenPod.
Podcast Benefit.
And you can shoot us an email, InstaRamenPodcast@gmail.com. Each week, we like to stream on Twitch. It's been getting later and later, sometime around 9 p.m. on Wednesdays, Pacific Coast time. And thank you guys so much for listening. That's at twitch.tv/Crispather. And next week, we're doing Anime Expo Lite. I'm excited. Thank you guys again.
Cool. Goodbye from Juan.
See you around from Chris.
Hey, don't forget.
Just add hot water.